Divine Sword of the Douluo Spiritual Pearl. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276. The Golden Crocodile is defeated, and the Wuhan Palace retreats. Bang bang bang. On the top of Qibao Mountain, a duel unfolded that changed the color of heaven and earth. The originally prosperous Qibao glazed sect was now almost razed to the ground. The attack power of Chen's Ninjin Crocodile was really terrifying. Even the aftermath was enough to kill a contra-level expert. Except for Ning Fengzi, who was protected by the divine light of 9 treasures. No one dared to approach their battlefield point, but at this point in the battle, the balance of victory and defeat has begun to tilt. Golden Crocodile Douluo was already covered in scars, especially a sword wound on his shoulder, which was so deep that the bones were visible. With Ning Fengzi's assistance, Chen's attributes in all aspects were far superior to those of Golden Crocodile Douluo, especially his attack power, which was simply a world of difference. Now Chen's number 1 attack Douluo is no longer just a title, but a real attack ceiling. The 8th soul skill is to move mountains and fill seas. Chen Xin separated 12 sword shadows in one breath. Each sword shadow has 80% of the attack power of the main body and can perform sword skills independently. Counting the main body, the 13 chunks in simultaneously made the last move of the 7 kills sword technique. The starting move of Annihilation of the 3 realms, just the sword energy locking, made it difficult for Golden Crocodile Douluo to breathe. He might not be able to block this wave of attacks. The power of the 7 kills sword technique, after entering the killing sword way, is completely incomparable with the 7 kills sword technique that Tianlin used alone. 13 figures rushed towards Golden Crocodile Douluo at the same time. The Golden Crocodile Soul Ring and Soul Bone were used together, and he continuously used his 8th soul skill and Torso Bone soul skill, and was able to block 11 sword shadows. When he faced the 12th one, he could no longer resist and was stabbed by a sword. It penetrated the abdomen and fell from the air. Next there is the 13th sword, which comes from Chen Xin's body. But just when the 7 kills sword was about to cut off the Golden Crocodile's head, Chen Xin suddenly stopped and only put the sword across the Golden Crocodile's neck. Chen Xin, do you want to humiliate me? I lost today, so kill me if you want. As a 98th level title Douluo, how could Jin Crocodile be greedy for life and fear death? This time he underestimated Qibao with the strength of the Liuli sect. For him who pursues perfection, he even thinks that he deserves to die. I won't kill you now, but I won't let you leave like this. Chen Xin injected an extremely powerful sword energy into Golden Crocodile Douluo's body, severely injuring him and sealing off all his soul power. At this moment, Durang also came back, carrying someone in his hand. Demon conquering Douluo. This guy just spent a lot of money in the battle with Tianlin, so he was naturally no match for Durang, who had been waiting for work. Moreover, Durang made the same choice as Chen Xin, defeating his opponent, but not killing him, sealing off his soul power, and capturing him alive. Master Golden Crocodile and Master Subduing Demon, they were actually defeated. Lingya and Douluo in the sky completely lost his cool. Their 2 aces fell down, which meant that this operation had completely failed. And she is also feeling very uncomfortable now. After Qibao joined the battlefield, she was besieged by 2 titled Douluo. Now she is in danger and her defeat has been exposed. The 9th soul skill. At the most critical moment, Lingya and Douluo used his strongest soul skill without hesitation. The terrifying flame spread in a circular shape, forcing Yin Yang and Qibao back at the same time. But her purpose in using this move was not to defeat the enemy, but to escape. After forcing back the 2 titled Douluo, she quickly swept away into the distance. While running, he gave the order. Everyone obeys the order. If the action fails, retreat with all your strength. At the gate of the city, a 2-headed snake and a poisonous flame dragon were fighting hard. It was the snake spear Douluo whose weapon soul had transformed into a beast soul, and the matchless dragon snake couple who used martial soul fusion skills. It was really difficult for them to decide the winner for a while, but because of this, Snake Spear Douluo became the least expensive among the attacking title Douluo. He was also in disbelief that they were still defeated, even though they sent out the golden crocodile Douluoan, the demon conquering Douluo, to worship them. The strength of the Qibao glazed sect is so unfathomable. Naturally, anyone who can become a titled Douluo is not a fool. He did not hesitate. Even the golden crocodile was defeated. He would only die if he stayed. He no longer cared about the unparalleled dragon and snake couple. While the true form of the weapon soul had not dissipated, he made the same choice. Evacuate immediately. Duke Long and Snake Lady still wanted to chase him, but Tianlin ran over to stop him and said, "There is no need to chase him. Senior Duke Long and Senior Snake Lady, he doesn't consume much. Even if they catch up with him, they can kill him in a short time. He won't stop, and I also want him to pass a message to me." Tianlin summoned up all his soul power and shouted in the direction Snake Spear Douluo was leaving, "Shilong, tell me something. The golden crocodile crown and the demon subduing crown are in our hands. If we want to get them back, the three in the future, please ask Senior Kai and Douluo to come to our Qibao glazed sect Yixi alone, and allow me to bring a servant with me, because if he dies, he will need someone to collect his body." Snake Spear Douluo, who was escaping, turned his head in horror when he heard these words. The sword master of the Seven Treasures glazed sect was a bit too courageous. It was not enough to capture the golden crocodile and the demon subduer alive, but he also did they really think that they didn't want to die quickly enough by asking the big priest to come? The strength of the great worshipper is far beyond what golden crocodile Douluo can match. Although he was surprised, his movements were not slow, and he had already run out an unknown distance. As for the matter of golden crocodile Douluo and demon conquering Douluo, even if Tianlin didn't tell him, he would convey it. With the status of these two enshrined men in Wuhan Hall, it is impossible for the great enshrined man and the Pope to ignore them. Okay, then let's deal with the other guys. Tianlin turned his head and looked at the disciples of the lower four sects and Wuhan Hall, who were frantically running for their lives with cold eyes, except for Spirit Kite Douluo and Snake Spear Douluo, who had already escaped, and the two worshippers who were captured alive. No one else could leave alive. Senior Long Gong, Senior Snake Po, while your martial soul fusion skills have not yet been released, kill as many as you can. But the poison flame dragon turned around and rushed towards the crowd, slaughtering the enemies crazily. Their main targets were the two high-level soul Douluos, Feng Xianlui, the leader of the Wind Sword sect, and Hu Yansen, the leader of the Elephant Armor sect. Although these two contrasts are powerful, it is enough to deal with them with the Dragon Snake combined attack with title strength, poison, dragon flame. The dragon spit out a mouthful of terrible poisonous fire. Seeing this, Hu Yansen and Feng Xianlui had no choice but to join forces to deal with it. The sixth soul skill, epilepsy, swordsmanship of the wind, shield of the breeze. After all, they are two contrasts who are close to being banned. Even if the dragon and snake attack together, it will be difficult to defeat them in a short time. At this moment, Qinming and Tianlin appeared behind them at the same time. Teacher Qin, let them have a taste of how powerful the Imperial fighter team is, Tianlin said with a smile. They had been fighting for a while before, but now he didn't have much strength left. He wanted to kill these two top soul Douluo quickly. You have to join forces with others. Okay, the third soul skill is the wrath of the fire wolf. The seventh soul skill is the true body of the martial soul. The first soul skill is key gathering, and the sixth soul skill is the explosive flames. Qin Ming fired 4 soul skills in a row again. He used the essence of the burst soul master very thoroughly. He only had one chance to attack, and defeated the enemy with one move. The instant explosive power of his move has reached the level of Contra. Chapter 277 Killing Hu Yansen. Ning Feng's his inference. The flames behind them were getting closer and closer. Hu Yansen and Feng Xianlui were both extremely panicked. Just to deal with the dragon snake attack that reached the title level in front of them, they used all their strength. How could they have any extra strength to resist an explosion? The Soul Master's full blow, the sixth soul skill, 3 talents to break the magic array. Tianlin didn't think it was enough, So he added another sword. He used the 100,000-year soul skill 3 talents to break the demon array, to trap the two of them. The infinite sword energy continued to surge, and in an instant, they were severely injured. Haha, 2 sect masters, I think your grandsons should have gone to hell. They would be lonely. I think you should go down and accompany them. Tianlin sneered. Feng Xianli and Hu Yanxin were furious after hearing this. After being beaten to such an extent, they could see that the Qibao Glazed sect was actually well prepared for this soul hunting operation point, so they couldn't leave the village at the foot of the mountain alone, as they were afraid that the grandson and other sect disciples they sent were already in danger. But it's useless for them to worry now, as they can't even protect themselves. Feng Xianli rolled his eyes and said, Master Huan, let's fight with them. Your defense is higher. Please support me alone for a while. I will go into the air and use my 8th soul skill, Wind and Thunder Sword formation, with all my strength. Even if we die, at least we can't make them feel better. Hu Yanxin didn't think there was anything wrong and nodded. Okay, I must bite off a piece of meat from their Qibao Glazed sect today. After saying that, Hu Yanxin looked at Tianlin fiercely. He knew clearly that Tianlin's life was the most precious thing here. If they used all their strength to kill him here, it would be a huge loss to the Qibao Glazed sect. Come on. Seeing that Hu Yanxin agreed, Feng Xianli withdrew the King Feng shield and flew high into the sky. Like Chen's in Tianlin, he knew how to fly with a sword. How could Tianlin let him escape easily? He controlled the sword energy of Sankei demon breaking formation and blocked all the roads above. If Feng Xianli planned to forcefully leave the formation, he will be completely shattered by the sword energy. Jun. Tianlin, you can't even think of succeeding. The 7th soul skill, the martial spirit true body, and the 8th soul skill are as immovable as a mountain. Hu Yanxin activated his 7th and 8th soul skills at the same time. Not to mention his martial soul avatar, his defense, which was already astonishing, increased several times again. And this 8th soul skill is not only a defensive soul skill, but also comes with a taunting aura, which can attract all the opponent's attacks to yourself. The sword energy of the Sankei demon breaking array, Kinming's explosive fire, and the poisonous dragon flames of the peerless dragon and snake all rushed towards him. Feng Xianli took advantage of this gap and flew out of the circle surrounded by the 3 of them. However, he did not use the 8th soul skill, Wind and Thunder Sword formation, to defeat the enemy as he said, but the 6th soul skill, Wind of the Wind Phantom. Feng Xianli suddenly separated into 10 phantom bodies and fled in all directions. If he couldn't tell which one was real, he wouldn't know which direction to pursue. Feng Xianli, you bastard. Hu Yanxin was furious. He still didn't understand that he was betrayed by Feng Xianli. Tianlin didn't intend to chase this insignificant person. He gave Hu Yanxin a pitiful look and said, you are so ignorant that you would believe such a despicable person. Although Tianlin felt a little pity for him, he was merciless at all. Under the joint attack of the 3 people, Hu Yanxin's defensive soul skill was first broken. Then, relying on the real wounds from the demon sword, Hu Yanxin's physical defense was useless at all, and his limbs were first severed by Tianlin's Sankei sword energy that broke through the demon formation. Then his head was burned by the poisonous flame dragon of the matchless dragon and snake couple, and finally his body was exploded by Kinming's flames. The dignified leader of the elephant armor sect, Xiangxiang Huayansen, died more tragically than in the original novel, but compared to the original inexplicable and cowardly way of death, at least it can be called heroic now. As Hu Yanxin's body was completely turned into ashes, Tianlin heard a ding, 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 the sound of something falling to the ground. As expected of the master of a sect, he still has a soul bone, but it's a pity that there is only one. Tianlin stepped forward to check it. It was a right arm bone. He didn't know how old it was, but it should not be less than 20,000 years old. Not a bad trophy. Tianlin thought for a moment and threw the soul bone directly to Duke Long, who had just released the soul fusion point. Duke Long looked at the soul bone in his hand and said in surprise, Xiaoshan, what are you doing? It's for you, Senior Duke Long. Today you first fought title Douluo Long, and then killed Hu Yanxin, the celestial phenomenon. You deserved a reward for your great contribution. And I feel that after today's hard battle, you are more confident about title Douluo. You should have some understanding of the realm. If you absorb this soul bone, I believe that your chances of breakthrough will be greatly increased. Ning Feng's he once promised that when Tianlin became a soul saint, he would announce to the world that he was the deputy sect leader of the Qibao Glazed sect. Although this matter was postponed due to the soul hunting operation, Tianlin just did not take office. In fact, his status has been confirmed. So as the deputy sect leader, it is only natural to give appropriate rewards to those who have made great contributions. I won't thank you enough for your kindness, Xiaoshan. When I break through to the title Douluo, I will definitely find a way to repay you. Duke Long was not polite. After all, the temptation to break through to the title Douluo was too great. Instead of pushing back and forth, it would be better to wait for yourself to complete a breakthrough and then reward yourself with stronger strength. Okay, now, continue to pursue the Wuhan Palace and the follower sect members. Today, we will definitely kill them to pieces. Tianlin gave an order. Duke Long, Snake Po, Qinming and others rushed into the flock like tigers. The massacre lasted for 2 full hours. Now the entire Qibao Glazed sect was dyed red. It would not be an exaggeration to even say that blood flowed like a river. Of course, this is all the blood of the enemy. In the end, there were only about 30 people left. These were deliberately left behind by Tianlin, or in other words, Ning Fengxi told him to stay before the war started. Moreover, these 30 people are relatively weak, and they are basically just soul sects. The strongest one is only the Soul King. It is not difficult for the Qibao Glazed sect not to kill them, but not let them escape. Take heart. Tianlin captured all 30 people with his mind-catching technique in one breath. At this time, Ning Fengxi and Shenzhen walked slowly. The disciples following them were holding pieces of clothing in their hands. These were from the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. Disciple clothing. Tianlin ordered all 30 people to change into sect clothes and then ran down the mountain towards Xiandao City. Uncle Ning, are you really sure that the soul hunting operation has not ended at this point? Does Wuhan Palace or anyone else really have a backup plan? Although Tianlin followed Ning Feng's suggestion, he still some doubts the soul hunting operation in the original book didn't have so many backups, and even he, the time traveler, didn't know about things. How did Ning Fengxi rely on to infer things? Chapter 278 Variables. Zubeng and Tangsan. Faced with Tianlin's question, Ning Fengxi's answer was unexpected. I don't know. I just inferred some things that are not very likely based on the recent changes in Xiandao City, and I thought I had to guard against it. The first time he answered so unconfidently, it seemed that he was simply more cautious about his inference this time. Following Ning Fengxi's instructions, Tianlin ordered all the black-clothed men in Wuhan Palace to change into sect disciples' clothes and then run down the mountain towards Xiandao City. At the same time, Little Yi opened a small bamboo tube in his hand, and with a harsh scream, a red light shot into the sky. And a dazzling spark exploded in the blink of an eye. This is the Qibao Glazed sect's request for help. It is completely different from the explosive fire that Qinming used to warn him just now. Xiao Yi released it at this time for 2 purposes. One is to interfere with the enemy, which is what Ning Fengxi calls the enemy's backhand. The other was to inform Ning Rangrong and others at the foot of the mountain. Before they took action, Ning Fengxi told them that once they saw this request for help, it meant that all threats within the sect had been eliminated, and they should return immediately. Great, Dad and Brother Jian won. Ning Rangrong said excitedly. It goes without saying that with a boss here, enemies will die as many as they come. Guran had always blindly trusted Tianlin, but he had never doubted it. The group of people went up the mountain from the back mountain, and along the way they also picked up the villagers who had settled in the secret passage in the back mountain. At this time, most of the powerful men in the Qibao Glazed sect were sitting cross-legged to recover their soul power. According to Ning Fengxi, their crisis tonight was only 70% over, and they still had 30% to be on guard. In fact, Ning Fengxi's worries were completely correct. In addition to Ning Rangrang and his party, those who saw this call for help actually had an army of 10,000 people less than 10 miles away from Qibao Mountain Point. The three leaders, except for a man in black robe whose figure could not be seen clearly, the other two were Zhu Beng and Tang San, but both of them looked a little wrong. Their eyes were filled with black energy, and they were as normal as usual. Very different. Looking at the fire in the sky, Zhu Beng said, "This is a signal for help from the Qibao Glazed sect. They must have suffered heavy losses. Send the order and the army will set off." This inexplicable appearance of the Xiandao Empire army was the result of Prince Zhu Crossing's effort to win over some generals and leave them to Zhu Beng's team. Now Zhu Beng used them against his own people. They headed towards the direction of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. It's for harvesting point. Not long after walking, they met a group of people who had escaped from the mountain. They were dressed in the clothes of disciples of the Qibao Glazed sect and looked very embarrassed. They were the people from the Wuhan Palace who had been captured by Tianlin with his mind. "It's His Highness Zhu Beng. Your Highness, please send troops to rescue our Seven Treasures Glazed sect. A group of men in black suddenly attacked our sect. Our sect suffered heavy casualties. The three titled Douluo, Elder Giant, Elder Poison and Elder Thunder Eagle all died in the battle. Elder Bone also returned fighting to the death with the sect master." When the group saw the avalanche, they knelt down excitedly and begged. This was what Ning Fengzi asked them to say. Hearing this, Zhu Beng laughed coldly. "Really? Ning Fengzi and Bone Douluo are not dead yet? It's such a pity." "Your Highness, what do you mean by this?" Everyone in the controlled Wuhan hall showed doubtful expressions. "That's what I mean. Tang San, kill." Zhu Beng ordered. "Yes, Your Highness." The third soul skill, blue-silver strangulation. Tang San took action decisively. Although his blue-silver grass had not awakened into the blue-silver emperor, it was still very different from before. The vines turned into blue-silver grass are extremely dark, with a strong evil energy attached to them. This is a dark blue-silver grass in an instant. These people in Wuhan Palace were all strangled by Tang San, without any ability to fight back. Zhu Beng ordered the soldiers to take these corpses with them, and the army continued to move towards the Qibao Glazed sect. At this time, Ning Rangrang and others had already returned to the sect. They were worried about their families, so they walked quickly. With the strength of the Soul Master's feet, it didn't take long to go up the mountain. "Is this the Qibao Glazed sect?" Ning Rangrang looked at his home in disbelief. The originally prosperous Qibao city seemed to have experienced a magnitude 10 earthquake, coupled with the devastation of thunder and fire. The attacker's average point: the earth is cracking, houses are collapsing, and there are flames burning everywhere. The uninjured disciples of the sect are working hard to put out the fires everywhere, while those with minor injuries are collecting the bodies of those who died in the battle, and those with serious injuries have been carried down to rest. Go. Ran. These bastards from the Wuhan Palace will pay back 10 times this hatred to them one day. Gu Ran clenched his fists, furious. "Okay, Gu Ran, don't be too angry. It's just that the building was damaged. Our actual casualties are not large. Sister Lingling's mother is helping with treatment. Everyone is fine." Tianlin came over and comforted them. "As long as everyone is still alive, no matter how many times the sect is destroyed, it can be rebuilt." Ning Rangrang wiped away her tears and said firmly, "Brother Jan is right. As long as everyone is alive, no big thing can defeat us. We will rebuild a more luxurious Seven Treasures Glazed sect here." "Okay, Rangrang, now you have to shoulder the responsibility of succeeding the sect leader. You will lead everyone here to reorganize the sect and rescue the injured disciples. Uncle Jan and Golden Crocodile Douluo still need you to watch over them. Uncle Dugu is stationed at the sect. Uncle Dying is inspecting the back mountain. Don't let anyone take the opportunity to attack from behind again. Uncle Gu and the other uninjured people above the Soul Emperor level, follow me to the bottom of the mountain and wait for our next batch of guests." Ning Fengzi gave a serious order. At this time, there are really not many people in the sect who can still maintain fighting power. There are less than 100 people above Soul Emperor who are not injured, but this is enough. The next batch of opponents are far less than the group just now. This guy is so strong. After all, he is just here to harvest. When Ning Rangrang heard this, she knew that the matter was not over yet. Although she was worried about Tianlin, she also knew that now was not the time for her to be willful. She immediately organized the sect disciples and began to clean up the mess. Guran followed Tianlin down the mountain. He broke through the Soul Emperor and was not injured, which just met Ning Feng's standards. Naturally, he would not let go of this opportunity to fight side by side with the boss. Finally, a group of less than 100 people met head on with an avalanche of tens of thousands of people. I've seen this picture before. Tianlin felt surprised. The three leaders, an unknown man in black robes, Prince Zubeng, and Tang San were exactly the scene Tianlin saw when he used future prediction to detect Tang San. He knew that what he saw in the future must be related to him. Although he did not scan his own screen at the time, he now understood why this skill was passively released to warn him. It turned out that this was their joint attack on the Qibao Glazed sect. Scene Zubeng also saw Ning Fengzi. Sure enough, Guran was the only one around him, and they all looked very exhausted. They probably had to use all their strength to kill so few people. Where are you going, Master Ning? You're so dusty, Zubeng said with a sarcastic smile. Your Highness Zubeng, I should ask you this. Did you bring the army here to rescue me because you saw our sect's distress signal? Ning Fengzi did not show any panic at all. If Tianlin saw this scene through the soul skill of predicting the future, then Ning Fengzi deduced it with the help of the palace intelligence collected by Yin Yang during this period and his own wisdom. For some reason, he actually suspected that Zubeng was related to Wuhan Palace. Tianlin once asked him what the probability of this judgment was, and it was worthy of such vigilance. As a result, Ning Feng's answer was less than 30%. This was based on the fact that as Zubeng, he should not be on the line with Wuhan Palace in any case. Otherwise, the chance would be even higher. However, for Ning Fengzi, there is no difference between 30% and 100%. As long as it reaches more than 20%, he will not be careless. Judging from the current results, it is no longer important whether Zubeng has anything to do with Wuhan Palace. In short, Ning Feng's caution against him is completely correct. Chapter 279 Controlled Avalanche. You mean rescue? Ha 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 ha. Zubeng laughed wildly, as if mocking Ning Feng's ignorance, but he didn't see that Ning Feng's was looking at him with the same look. Bring people over here, Zubeng ordered behind him. Dozens of soldiers each carried a corpse and threw it in front of Ning Fengzi. The Qibao Glazed sect rebelled. These people just now attempted to assassinate this prince in the name of asking for help. They have been executed by me, Zubeng said coldly. Zubeng, you bastard, you dare to kill my brother. Looking at the dozens of corpses in front of him, Guran was filled with anger. He came later and had no idea that these people were actually people from Wuhan Palace pretending to be their. Guran stepped forward to collect the bodies of the sect disciples, but he turned around and realized something was wrong. Who are these guys? Why didn't Mao know any of them? When he was confused, Tianlin's mouth moved slightly, and the sound reached his ears. Guran, these guys are not from us. They are from Wuhan Palace, but you don't care so much. Just treat your family as dead. Be sad when you should be sad, and be angry when you should be angry. Guran didn't understand what he meant, but he listened to what the boss said. He picked up a man and looked at it. He was older, about 40 years old, so he was the one. Uncle Zhang, you have always taken good care of Guran and treated me like your own son. Unexpectedly, today we are separated forever. My heart aches. Tianlin broke out in a cold sweat. This guy seemed to have misunderstood something. He just asked him to pretend for a while. Is there any need to cry like this? Moreover, are you sure the surname of the person you picked up is Zhang? But that's not important. It's even better. Tianlin immediately said angrily. Zubeng, Tang San, how dare you kill my sect's disciples? Don't worry. Soon, you will go down to accompany them. Kill them all. Following Zubeng's instructions, 10,000 troops swarmed forward. Originally, a mere 10,000 soldiers were not worth mentioning to the Qibao Glazed sect at its peak. But Zubeng reckoned that Ning Fengzi and others were already running out of gas, so this small number of soldiers was more than enough. At this moment, the Holy Spirit bead in Tianlin's body vibrated violently, seeming to warn Tianlin. Ziocean, the spirits of Zubeng and Tang San have been invaded. They are now controlled just like those people who have been possessed by you. Qian Meng Bingshan also transmitted the message at the right time. Tianlin nodded, quietly approached Ning Fengzi and said, Uncle Ning, Zhu Beng and Tang San are not in the right state. Both my Holy Spirit bead and brother Qian Meng and the Sea of Spirits told me that they might be manipulated by something. Ning Fengzi suddenly understood. I see. No wonder I always felt that something was wrong with Zhu Beng. Although he was a playboy in the past, in recent years, he has become too violent. So who controls him? The same goes for Tang San. The last time Ning Fengzi went to the palace to see Tang San, he was still very normal. Probably because Tang Heo was still there at that time, the mastermind behind the scenes didn't dare to attack him, but now Tang Heo wants to solve the problem. The flaw of the twin martial souls caused people all over the world to search for Tang San's soul bones, which gave others an opportunity to take advantage of them. Finally, Ning Fengzi's eyes fell on the man in black. Could he be the mastermind behind the scenes? Then, let's save Zhu Beng's life this time. After hearing that Zhu Beng was controlled and did not take the initiative to destroy his sect, a new and bolder plan emerged in Ning Fengzi's mind. He glanced at Tianlin secretly. The vindictive Ning Fengzi had never forgotten that Tianlin had plotted against him regarding Zhu King. I wonder if Ning Fengzi has ever been plotted like this in his life. This time he wants to take revenge. Anyway, it is for Tianlin's good. Tianlin suddenly trembled. He didn't know it yet, but he had been targeted by the most dangerous guy. After informing everyone through a secret message, the Qibao Glazed sect and the Xiandao Empire's army began a new war. They showed their weakness to the enemy and retreated even as they fought, showing that they were unable to resist. Your Highness Zhu Beng, do you really want to wipe out the Seven Treasures Glazed sect? After all, they openly support the Xiandao Empire. If you lose them, even if you ascend the throne later, and don't have a title Douluo as your backbone, what can you do to fight against it? Crossing a Luo. Seeing this scene, Tang San persuaded, while Bone Douluo and Ning Fengzi are still alive, I think it's more appropriate to subdue them. I have a way. If Ning Rangrang is still alive, then we will only kill Jun Tianlin, and then force Ning Rangrang to marry you, and completely tie the Seven Treasures Glazed sect to you. Tang San's suggestion was quite suitable for the current Zhu Beng, and he happened to want to conquer the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect, but Zhu Beng immediately rejected it. Brother Tang, there is no need to say more. Today the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect will not leave a single person alive, so let's just go kill Jun Tianlin. Mentioning Tianlin, Zhu Beng thought of the scene when he choked and threatened him. In that case, leave it to me. Tang San saw that he couldn't persuade Zhu Beng, so he didn't insist. It happened that he and Tianlin also had a score to settle, which was the revenge they had for forcing Tang Heo back then. Although these two people were controlled, their personalities seemed to have not changed at all. Just like when Tianlin used Eternal Mind to control Hulina, apart from listening to Tianlin's instructions, she was still her. The fifth soul skill, Blue Silver Dark Gill. Tang San summoned the dark blue silver grass and rushed towards Tianlin. His fifth soul skill was no longer the blue silver overlord spear, but a skill that released a beam of light like Albay Sun Surge. It's just that his beam is extremely dark and has a strong evil aura. Seeing this scene, Tianlin laughed. The last scene he saw when he predicted the future was this scene. This meant that the backup plan he had left on Tang San would be activated soon. The first soul skill, Ning Hangsu, because the previous consumption was too great. Tianlin now couldn't use any high level soul skills, so he could only rely on this century-old spirit to compete with Tang San. But after all, he had title level combat power, and even with just the first soul skill, he still suppressed Tang San's black light wave. Although the rest of the Qibao Glazed sect seemed to be at a disadvantage while fighting and retreating. 10 minutes had passed, and hundreds of people had died in the army brought by the avalanche. However, not a single member of the Qibao Glazed sect's disciples had been reduced. Even if the Soul Masters have dimensionality reduction and suppression of the army, at this time, aren't they all theoretically at the end of their game? Why are they still so capable of fighting? The situation is not right. Did something go wrong with the soul hunting operation? The man in black robe who had been silent finally spoke. Point after all, he is a titled Douluo. At this time, he has already seen that except for Tianlin, everyone else's soul power is very abundant, and they don't look like they are running away in embarrassment. After losing the battle point, unfortunately, he discovered it too late. That's it. Fusion troops, come out. Ning Fengzi waved his hand, and 28 figures suddenly jumped out from the darkness. These 28 people were divided into 4 groups of 7. Each group had a 7 treasures glazed pagoda soul master, 5 soul saints, and a soul Douluo. At this time, they stood in 4 directions: southeast, northwest, and surrounded Zhu Beng's army. Point obviously, Ning Fengzi led his people to fight and retreat just now. Firstly, to draw them into the encirclement, and secondly, to buy time for these 28 people. In fact, they are the ones Ning Fengzi has left until now, using to deal with the main force of Avalanche. Chapter 280 Tianlin's backup plan. 5 spirits purify evil. 28 people, a group of 7. Is this the position? The man in black sounded panicked, and he seemed to have thought of something. 7-in-1 fusion technique. The reason why Tianlin attached so much importance to the master's martial soul fusion theory was precisely because this theory was of great use to the Qibao glazed sect. Ring fusion is of course a very rare ability for ordinary soul masters, but for the 7 treasures glazed tile sect, this is one of the special abilities of their 7 treasures glazed tile pagoda, and many in the sect have mastered it. Therefore, what will happen when many soul saints use the 7-in-1 fusion technique with the help of the fusion ring to completely introduce their power into the body of a high level soul Douluo? It is to directly create a title level combat power. Today's Qibao glazed sect, even excluding the 5 titled Douluo, Tianlin and the unparalleled dragon and snake couple, can at least burst out more than 10 titled combat power in an instant. This is how Ning Fengzi truly has no fear of the spirit. All capital point in the horrified eyes of Zhu Beng and others. The 4 contrasts that had combined a large amount of soul power moved. The 8th soul skill. The 4 of them activated their 8th soul skills at the same time, and the ones Ning Fengzi chose were all contrast with large scale attacks. Huge power exploded in the center of the army. Even if Douluo Continent's power system was not very powerful, it was easy to kill tens of thousands of soldiers when the equivalent of 4 titles came out at the same time. In an instant, out of the original army of 10,000, only less than 500 people were left standing. Zhu Beng was protected by the titled Douluo, and was not in serious trouble. Tangsun also escaped, because he was fighting Tianlin. It was impossible for the people of the 7 treasures glazed sect to use the 7-in-1 fusion technique on him. Alas, after all, he is not a real titled Douluo. His accuracy is a bit lacking, yet he has left so many behind. Tianlin still felt unsatisfied and sighed. Tianlin, your Qibao glazed sect actually committed such a murderous crime. Aren't you afraid of retribution? Tangsun said angrily. Although he was controlled, his character remained unchanged. In his mind, these armies would be controlled by him after Zhu Beng took over. That was his bargaining chip, to gain recognition from the Haoshan sect. Tianlin sneered. Tangsan, are you kidding? Don't tell me that these soldiers came to my Qibao glazed sect for sightseeing. They want to destroy my sect and kill our family. Do they want us to show mercy? After experiencing in the killing city, Tianlin is no longer the Tianlin he used to be. Perhaps he could not bear it, because these soldiers were just following orders, but now he has understood that this is war. Although these people may not be evil people, they must be enemies. Enemies who want their own lives. Being kind to the enemy on the battlefield is cruel to one's own people. Damn it. Tangsun struck out angrily again. If it were him before, he would have thought of retreating at this time. After all, his entire army was almost wiped out. However, he himself didn't realize that his state was wrong. As if he had received some order, he would never retreat without killing Tianlin. It's really pitiful. I'm being used by others without knowing it. It's a pity that I don't have enough soul power now to help you escape. Tianlin fended off the blue silver grass again, and said with a smile, but I can do it in the past. I think now it's almost time. Suddenly, a burst of light flashed from Tang San's chest, and it kept amplifying. The evil aura on his blue-silver grass was fading away, gradually turning back into ordinary blue-silver grass. These are the two soul skills that Tianlin buried in Tangsun back then. 5 spirits purifying evil and Feng Shui flow point. The 5 spirits purify evil spirits, and the flow of Feng Shui eliminates all abnormal conditions. What? That light is constantly driving away the master's aura attached to Tangsan. The man in black robe was startled by this change. He couldn't let Tianlin succeed, so he flashed and rushed towards Tangsan at an extremely fast speed. This speed has surpassed yin yang of the agility attack system. As expected, this person's strength is very extraordinary. This aura. Durang was confused for a while, and his figure flashed, appearing on the path that the man in black robe must pass. He may not be as fast as this man, but with his spatial ability, his actions are even weirder. Possessed by the bone dragon, his huge bone arm blocked the man's blow. At this moment, Durang felt that part of the evil energy of his bone dragon spirit was taken away by this man. Sure. Enough. You are the one who massacred those border villages. Fengzi sent him to investigate before, and he found that there were strong evil spirits remaining there. These evil spirits would also absorb the breath of the outside world and become stronger. His bone dragon martial spirit was of the death type, and he had also committed many crimes before. He didn't kill much, and his martial spirit carried a lot of resentment. At that time, he felt that part of this resentment was absorbed by those evil spirits, which was exactly the same as he felt now. HMPH. For the great cause of my spirit hall, they deserve to die. The man in black robe said coldly. Brother, Xian Meng, do you think this person is lying and blaming the blame on Wuhan Palace? This guy said that he was from Wuhan Palace, which made Tianlin suspicious. He might be in Wuhan Palace. Divert their attention and let them focus on Wuhan Hall, thereby ignoring other things. No, Xiaoshan, I think this guy is not lying. He is really from Wuhan Palace. I can feel that when he said this, his soul was very pious. This cannot be faked by deception. Qian Meng Ice Worm objected. That's weird. Xianlin frowned. If he was from Wuhan Palace, then whose instructions were given to him? The two largest forces in Wuhan Palace were the Enshrinement Palace Douluo and the Pope Palace Bibidong. To be honest, Tianlin doesn't think they are such people. Bibidong may have some signs of revenge against society because of what happened back then and the influence of the Rakshasa god's spiritual thoughts, but she shouldn't have reached that level now. As for Douluo, this guy may be ruthless for the great cause of Wuhan Palace, but he is definitely not a villain. On the contrary, this guy knows right from wrong and keeps his promises. He knew that his son Kyank Sunji was killed by Bibidong, but he also knew that Kyank Sunji's method of keeping Bibidong was too dark, so he didn't have much hatred for Bibidong. He once fought with Tang Chen, and after his defeat, he made a promise that under him, the members of Wuhan Palace would never set foot on the mountain where Haoshan sect was located, unless he could defeat Tang Chen. Even though Tang Chen has been missing for many years, Douluo has always stuck to his promise. Even if his son was indirectly killed by Tang Hao, he did not label the Haoshan sect. Such a person would definitely not kill innocent people indiscriminately. Could it be that in addition to these two people, there is a third, darker force in Wuhan Palace? Tianlin thought while stroking his chin. Apart from these two impossibilities, he could only speculate like this. Xiaoshan, there is no point in thinking about this now. The 9 treasures are famous, and the 6 days increase. Ning Fengzi unfolded the 9 treasures glazed pagoda, but the target of his increase was not Gurong, who was fighting the titled Douluo, but Tangsan. Tangsan was currently being purified by the 5 spirits purifying evil. Because this move was set up in advance, it was triggered from his body and could now be counted as part of his body's energy. 5 spirits purifying evil is a domineering skill that forcibly purifies all evil spirits. This move has no attack power and no defense power. Therefore, the characteristics are the same as the Golden Scepter's Bright Sky Guide. The strongest attribute is the range point. Under the influence of Liu Zeng, the light of the 5 spirits pure evil spread violently to the surroundings. The titled Douluo and Zhu Beng were immediately covered by the light. Chapter 281 The True Face of the Man in Black Robe, the Four-Winged Fallen Angel. This light is abominable. The man in black robe roared angrily. He seemed to be more afraid of this move than Tangsun and Zubeng, who were invaded by evil energy point in order not to reveal his identity. He never released his martial spirit even when fighting Gurang. He was already losing ground, but at this moment, he finally couldn't bear it anymore. The 6th soul skill, Angel Shield. The black-robed man's martial soul appeared, and it turned out to be an angel. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black and 9 soul rings showed his strength as a titled Douluo. The difference was that the color of his angel wings was its black, and there are only 4 of them. A pitch black shield completely blocked out the light of the 5 spirits purifying evil point at the same time. His robe also fell off, revealing an image of an ordinary looking middle-aged man. Could this martial spirit be a 4-winged fallen angel? Tianlin said in horror. The opposite of the legendary angel martial spirit is completely opposite to Qian Rinx's holy angel who represents good. It is the representative of evil. HMPH. It seems that the Lord's mission cannot be completed. Let's evacuate today. The man was about to leave. As for the avalanche, he couldn't care so much. Want to leave. The 4th soul skill, Bone Prison. How could Gurang just watch him leave and immediately summon a huge bone forest to block all his escape routes at the same time? A space channel was placed directly above to limit his flying ability point. It's a pity that Gurang underestimated this man's decisiveness. Suddenly, a circle of territory spread out around him, limiting Gurang's power. Then bursts of pitch black flames appeared all over his body, and his last soul ring flickered violently. Get up. The 9th soul skill, Muddy Demonic Flame. The terrifying nether fire suddenly erupted, instantly destroying Bone Douluo's bone prison. After all, it was only a 4th soul skill, and it was weakened by that domain point. It was too late for Gurang to use his 9th soul skill to fight the enemy at this time. He had to protect the sect disciples first. The attack range of this muddy demonic flame was extremely large. The huge skeleton not only protected the people of the 7 treasures glazed sect, but also protected Tangsun and Zubeng, who had just been purified and were still in a coma. After a long time, the demonic fire dissipated and Gurang withdrew the defensive formation. Although everyone was fine, the corpses of tens of thousands of soldiers had all turned into ashes, and the fallen angel Douluo had also disappeared without a trace. That was the god of killing domain just now. Tianlin was shocked. Gurang's power was instantly weakened by about 10%. Wasn't it the god of killing domain? No, that's not right. The field just now can only weaken the opponent, but it cannot strengthen itself. This is a weakened version of the killing god field. It can be regarded as a murderous field at most. Qian Mengbingshan denied, but no matter what, this guy, in addition to Wuhan Palace, there must be something to do with the City of Slaughter. It seems that, after you break through the title Douluo, you will have to go back to the City of Slaughter to have a look. Yeah. Tianlin nodded. He knew Qian Mengbingshan's concerns. The King of Slaughter was really too strong. If something went wrong, if Tianlin left now, he might not even be able to protect himself. It would be better to wait until the account is blocked before investigating. Ningfengzi used his soul power to bounce away the smoke and dust around him and said, "What a powerful flame. I have heard of it before. The angel martial soul controls the power of holiness, light and the sun, but I didn't expect that this fallen angel also controls it. Such a powerful flame is just a lot more eerie. It's a pity that he still ran away. Otherwise, the truth would have been found out. I don't believe that someone with such a martial spirit would be from Qian Douluo or Bibi Dongfang. He said he was doing it for the spirit hall, so he must be divert trouble to the east." Gurang was very unhappy, being so close to the truth, yet being escaped so easily by the other party. If he hadn't just spent a lot of soul power to deal with demon conquering Douluo and had to protect the disciples of the sect, he would definitely be able to capture him. "Okay, Uncle Gu, there is nothing we can do about it. We fought fiercely tonight, and none of us were in the best condition, otherwise he would not be your opponent at all." Ningfengzi comforted, but fortunately, the crisis has finally been lifted. "Okay, now we can really take a breath. Take Zubeng and Tangsan, and go back to the sect. By the way, send someone to inform Prince Zuxing, and ask him to pick them up." After Ningfengzi gave the order to the Soul Emperor, who was not very exhausted, he staggered towards the sect. Tianlin hurriedly stepped forward To support him. He could completely understand that, in order to survive tonight, Ning Fengzi had exhausted all his soul power, physical strength, and mental power. In fact, he was no different. With his HP and MP now close to zero, if he really fought with Tang San, I'm afraid I may not be able to beat him. Uncle Ning, thanks to your strategizing, we were able to achieve such a great victory, Tianlin said while helping him move forward. My contribution is not huge. It should be said that this is the result of our concerted efforts. Ning Fengzi smiled. In fact, in today's battle, if either he or Tianlin were missing, the sect would inevitably suffer heavy losses. Fortunately, God was merciful and allowed Tianlin's power and Ning Fengzi's wisdom to be born in the same era, so that such a huge chemical reaction could occur. But I still have some doubts. Why do you keep inferring that Zhu Beng is related to Wuhan Palace? Tianlin asked the question he had always had in his heart. If it were him, Zhu Beng's identity alone would not well think of him in the direction of Wuhan Palace. Actually, I have never made a conclusion. It's all just reasoning. His Majesty is seriously ill and Zhu King holds the power. The most important thing Zhu Beng should do at this time is to continue to act like a playboy on the surface, secretly accumulate strength, and then charge up for a strike. Directly launched a coup with lightning speed, and ascended the throne as emperor. The policies formulated by Zhu King are very targeted at soul masters and nobles. In fact, there are many people who do not want him to ascend the throne, including some military forces that are not supposed to be involved in party strife. After all, the main purpose of those who become generals is to enjoy more with many resources. People like Marshal Zhelong who are devoted to the country and are loyal to the royal family will always be only a few, and they could have become the force of the avalanche. But he jumped out to fight for the throne at the most inappropriate time. Firstly, this directly attracted Zhu King's attention. Secondly, he and Zhu King continued to force the generals who were not involved in party disputes to join forces, which caused as a result, Marshal Zhelong and other generals were forced to leave and garrison at the border one by one. After all, it is an ironclad rule that the military does not get involved in party disputes, and no one dares to violate the ban openly. Most of the generals left, and the imperial guards near Xiandao city were quickly in the hands of the Prince Zhu King. He did so many things just to make Zhu King's wedding dress. I don't think he is like that stupid, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't be the only one among the princes to survive Zhu King's hands. After most of the generals in Xiandao city left, Zhu King had control of the Forbidden Army. At this time, it was easy for him to bring in the personnel involved in the soul hunting operation from Wuhan Palace. Zhu Beng's actions made me have to doubt that he was helping Wuhan Palace complete the soul hunting plan. The most important thing is that he actually personally participated in such a big operation, but Prince Zhu Crossing did not come. If he were here, he would never allow Zhu Beng to do this. After all, he knows that our 7 treasures glazed sect is indestructible. Otherwise, even if Zhu Beng ascends to the throne and there are no titled Douluo in the country, how can Xiandao's military strength compete with Wuhan Palace and Crossing Luo? Ning Fengzi told Tianlin the entire process of his deduction point. After hearing this, Tianlin cursed himself for being stupid. He had never discovered such an obvious flaw in Zhu Beng. He had obviously wondered why Zhu Beng jumped out when he shouldn't have. It's just that I haven't looked into it deeply. If Ning Fengzi hadn't thought more far term, the Qibao glazed sect would have suffered a catastrophe. Because of this omission point, it seems that I can no longer rely on foresight to do things in the future. It is necessary to improve my wisdom and think about more different possibilities. Chapter 280. To the end of the soul hunting operation. In the Qibao glazed sect, Zhu Beng gradually regained consciousness after Yilingling's treatment. As for Tang San, he wouldn't die if he was left there, so just let him continue to faint. His Royal Highness Zhu Beng, you're awake. Ning Fengzi tried his best to look kind. He really didn't like this guy. If he hadn't used him in his future plans, he would have led people to attack the sect. You should kill him directly. Thank you, sect leader Ning, for saving me, Zhu Beng said with false gratitude. He had memories of the time he was controlled He was indeed slightly grateful to Ning Fengzi, but more of it was anger, because his uncle had worked hard to recruit a few young generals who were willing to participate in the party struggle and support him into his team of the army of more than 10,000 people, but today, all of them were slaughtered by Ning Fengzi sect. Master Ning, although you saved me, were you too cruel? A total of 10,000 troops who defended our family and country died tragically at the hands of your 7 treasure glazed sect. I have no other choice. At that time, you were the one who killed the disciples of my Qibao glazed sect and wanted to destroy my sect behind you. We had no choice but to kill you. If we had known earlier that you were being controlled, I will definitely show mercy. Ning Fengzi looked regretful. But Tianlin, who was familiar with him, could tell that his father-in-law had deliberately used the Wuhan Palace disciples to pretend to be Qibao glazed sect disciples as cannon fodder, so that Zhu Beng's side could take action first. Then it would be more reasonable for him to fight back, but no matter how reasonable it was, killing tens of thousands of Xiandao Empire's troops in one go would inevitably arouse the hatred of the royal family, but he could not make them turn against him directly. Generally speaking, Ning Fengzi would not do such a foolish move unless it was part of his plan. Tianlin always felt that Ning Fengzi was designing a plan that he didn't even know about. Unlike a certain god who spent tens of thousands of years designing some idiotic plan in the future, Ning Fengzi's plans have always been small scale, but they are more concise, clear, and immediate. Seeing Ning Fengzi's appearance, he could only hold back the anger of Zhu Beng, who was at fault. In that case, I will not care about this matter anymore. After all, you are also a victim, Sect Master Ning. But what do you plan to do with the initiator of this matter, your apprentice Zuking? While I was under control, I received an order to help him complete the soul hunting plan, but it must be done secretly, and he cannot be discovered by me. The real purpose, but this is obviously Wuhan Palace's plan. How could he be involved as the prince? I now suspect that he is actually from Wuhan Palace and even works with the black-robed man who controls me. Zhu Beng's IQ was indeed not too low. As soon as he woke up, he pointed all his fingers at Zuking. In fact, Tianlin was also very confused about this. When Zuking mentioned the man in black robe, the doubts in his heart could not be faked. Having known her for many years, Tianlin was very sure that she was not lying and that she was telling the truth. Don't know this person's identity. Qian Rinxu didn't know the title Douluo who belonged to Wuhan Palace. Also, because the soul hunting operation was ahead of schedule and Qian Rinxu was not well prepared, the man in black came to help her specially and used an avalanche to force away the garrison general. The upper four-winged fallen angel martial spirit. The internal situation of Wuhan Hall is becoming more and more confusing. Is it possible that besides Bibidang and Qian Daoliu, there is really a third-party force in Wuhan Hall? Regarding Zuking's matter, Ning Fengzi could only promise to investigate it with Zhu Beng, which made him somewhat satisfied. Ning Fengzi then asked how Zhu Beng was controlled, but Zhu Beng said he knew nothing. He didn't even know when he was controlled. In fact, he had been controlled for several years. The controller had never been controlled before. He had been given instructions, but he was no different, except that he was more violent than usual, so no one else noticed anything unusual. This is somewhat similar to Tianlin's obsession with Hulina. As long as there are no instructions, she will still be her. The only difference is that this power to control the avalanche will make his already cruel heart become more and more cruel. At the beginning, the reason why he tortured and killed the civilian girl in front of Tianlin and Zuking was somewhat influenced by this. As for the lack of memory, it is probably similar to Tianlin's soul reading technique. This memory has been erased. It seems that it is impossible to get clues from him. Not long after, Prince Zuxing, who had received the message, also came. When he learned the cause and effect, the first thing he thought of was not gratitude, but that Ning Fengzi acted too ruthlessly and ruined his team. However, unlike Zhu Beng, who was more mature, he did not say it directly, but secretly wrote down the account in his heart, and then left with Zhu Beng and the still unconscious Tang San. Uncle Ning, you offended them on purpose, right? Tianlin asked. Haha, after tonight, the pattern of Xiandao will undergo a big change. Ning Fengzi did not answer him directly, but said, Zai Ocean, get ready for a few big events. Haoshin comes out of the mountain. Zuking steps down. Zubeng takes over. Qibao Glazed sect is suppressed by the royal family and Douluo is about to attack. Tianlin was confused after hearing this. How many actions did Ningfeng's he secretly do that he didn't know about? Moreover, he seemed to already know what would happen next. It's a pity that Tianlin hasn't noticed that the final point of Ningfeng's his plan is none other than him. Ningfeng's he glanced at Tianlin and said secretly, Xiaoshan, since there are some things you don't want to do, let me plan them. If Zuking is really what you said in the future, he will take the initiative to ask our sect for reconciliation and get my. If both parties agree and reach cooperation, then I will terminate the plan. Otherwise, this night felt longer than the usual months. In the early morning, the sect was still cleaning up the ruins. Tianlin took Ningrangrang's hand and looked at the rising sun in the distance. He felt relaxed in his heart. Since joining the sect, the soul hunting operation that he had worried about every day for more than 10 years had finally passed safely. Although there are many variables, Tianlin is not afraid, because for this world, his existence is also one of the variables. As a time traveler who has gradually grown up, he has no reason to be afraid of these natives. God Shura had said at the beginning that he and Tangsun were the only two foreign souls who came to this world, so the consideration of a third time traveler could be discarded. However, besides the Ling's Hu divine sword, there was actually another thing that followed Tianlin through time travel. Inside the Holy Spirit Pearl. A descendant of Nuwa murmured, I didn't expect that Xiaoshan would meet that thing so quickly. It seems that some of the natives on this continent have already obtained and started to use its power. We must let Xiaoshan as soon as possible. The divine status test of the Holy Spirit bead will be enough. In fact, that thing is just a magic weapon, but it can be hidden very quickly, so even God Shura can't catch it. Just like Tianlin got the Holy Spirit bead, whoever gets that thing can gain huge power. In fact, Tianlin's spirit bead divine sword crossed the plane and came to Douluo Continent just to destroy that thing. Chapter 283 Unexpected News. Tiandao Empire attacks Haoshin sect. In the early morning of the next day, for countless civilians, last night was a peaceful night, but for the major forces, what happened last night was really terrible. If the world of Douluo Continent also has air traffic control, then we will definitely see that in the sky today. Countless spirit masters with flying beast-like spirits are constantly delivering messages in less than half a day. The information that the Qibao Glazed sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family were attacked by unknown forces spread throughout the major kingdoms and principalities. Although everyone guessed who was responsible, this kind of thing cannot be said openly. What is even more surprising is that the unknown force was actually defeated, and the two major sects were intact. If the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family only pushed back the enemy, then the Seven Treasures Glazed sect caused heavy losses to the opponent. In addition, there is another piece of news that is equally astonishing. The hidden place of the Haoshin sect, the head of the three sects, was found and attacked. However, it was no longer the unknown force who attacked, but the heavenly sect, one of the two great empires. Fight the empire. Nearly 100,000 troops suddenly attacked the Haoshin sect. The two sides fought a battle, each suffering injuries, but the Haoshin sect was the better. In this battle, 6 titled Douluo appeared, defeating the Xiandao Empire. The army was completely defeated and almost completely destroyed. Tianlin, who had just meditated in his room all night, heard the news and wondered with surprise, what was Qinrixu doing? Why did he suddenly send a large army to conquer the Haoshin sect? Tianlin was very sure that she was the one who did it. After all, the only ones who knew the location of Haoshin sect were Osluo himself and Qinrixu, who sent people to follow Osluo at that time. Moreover, even a prince like Zubeng, who has gained real power, can only mobilize an army of only 10,000 people. He can suddenly mobilize an army of more than 100,000. Except for Zuking, who currently holds the military talisman and jade seal in Zhu Yi's hands. No one else can do it. It's not surprising that she would take action against the Haoshin sect. After all, her father apparently died at the hands of Tang Heo, and she didn't know the truth. But even so, the time is not right now. Kyan Rinksu is definitely she should not be so impulsive as a person who can tolerate things for such a big move. Even if Zhu Yi can't handle political affairs now, there are still many ministers in the court and Marshal Jelong in the military. Wouldn't they use this to hold her accountable afterwards? Even the 3 education committee members who have always supported her have no way of understanding her on this matter. The Xiandao Empire and the Haoshan sect originally had no grievances, but you just find someone's place of seclusion and use the inexplicably. Why attack them? Isn't she taking the initiative to destroy her many years of management in the Xiandao Empire? By the way, Uncle Ning said yesterday that the incident of Haoshan coming out of the mountain and Zuking stepping down will happen next. Could it be related to him? Tianlin immediately thought of what Ning Feng's he said yesterday. He seemed to have expected it. He went straight to the Qibao hall. Although other places were badly damaged, this place was still intact. At this time, Ning Fengzi was chatting and laughing with someone. This person is Thunder Douluo Yuansen. He came here specifically to thank Ning Fengzi. If the Qibao Glazed sect had not warned him in time and sent people to help last night, I'm afraid that their Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family would have been destroyed. Although the force that attacked their home last night was far less powerful than the one that attacked the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, there were still 4 titled Douluo. In addition to the 3 elders of Crazy Lion, Ghost Leopard, and Turtle, there were also the ones who had recently been successfully promoted, one of the lower 4 sects, to Obazi, the leader of the Holy Dragon sect. No matter how strong Yu Yuansen was, it would be difficult for him to fight 1 against 4, but Ning Feng's he simply sent 23 people and perfectly turned the tide of the battle. These 23 people include 3 Soul Douluo, 15 Soul Saints, 4 Soul Emperor level Qibao Glazed Pagoda Soul Masters, and the grandfather of the Shi family brother Hu. Tianlin wrote to ask for help from Shi Lei. That's right, it relied on the 7-in-1 fusion technique. 21 of them were divided into 3 groups, which directly pushed the power of the 3 contrast to the level of title Douluo. Shi Lei, on the other hand, blocked Tuobazi. Of course he was no match for Tuobazi in a head-on fight, but in terms of defensive power alone, he had already reached the title Douluo level like Hu Yansen. This newly promoted Holy Dragon Douluo could not fight at all. Unable to break through his defense in a short time. The last extra Soul Emperor from the 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda was to assist Yu Yuansen. With the assistance of the 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda, Yu Yuansen's attributes in all aspects increased by 70%. With his Super Douluo strength and dragon transformation, 1 against 3 is more than enough. The highest level combat power was all held back, and the remaining Soul Masters in the Wuhan Palace were attacked by nearly powerful titled Douluo warriors from the 7 tribes, and were soon completely defeated. In desperation, Wuhandian had no choice but to evacuate. Yu Yuansen, who had a strong personality, was not willing to let them escape like this. Facing the completely furious lightning dragon, Crazy Lion Douluo let others go first, while he held Yu Yuansen back. It turned out to be a success, because the evacuation was timely, and the casualties of the Wuhan Palace people there were not too heavy. However, the Mad Lion Douluo, who was considered a man, was beheaded by Yu Yuansen on the spot. Thunder Douluo's domineering power is undoubtedly revealed in this battle, which is somewhat similar to the original swordsman Shenzin, but his current limit is 1 against 3. If there is another one, I'm afraid his ending will not be so comfortable. Sect Master Ning, thank you very much this time. I won't say much else. I'll do it first out of respect. Yu Yuansen drank the wine in his hand. From now on, our 2 major sects have officially formed an alliance. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon the family is willing to look up to Qibao Glazed sect. Haha, Chief Yu is so polite. Don't forget that our 2 clans have been married for a long time and are in-laws. There is no reason to ignore the in-laws' difficulties. There are 3 people behind Yu Yuansen, 2 of whom are Yu Xianheng and Du Guyang. The couple is the link between the 2 sects. Finally, there is a middle-aged man with a gloomy face. He is Yu Yuansen's biological brother Yu Luomian, and he is also Li Yu Erlang's biological father. However, he is completely different from Yu Yuansen. He obviously also has the masculine power of the blue electric Tyrannosaurus. Although he has a strong soul, He looks extremely feminine. Normally, when Yu Yuanzhen is away, he has been responsible for handling the sect's affairs, but today for some unknown reason, he offered to follow his eldest brother to the Qibao Glazed sect to express his gratitude. Seeing his sincerity, Yu Yuanzhen agreed to his request. After all, the Qibao Glazed sect saved the entire Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus family. As an elder, it was reasonable for him to be grateful. Just as the two sect masters were exchanging greetings, Tianlin walked in quickly. As soon as he saw him, Yu Xianheng couldn't wait to step forward and gave him a bear hug. Ocean, thank you very much this time. Without you, our clan would not be able to escape the catastrophe. From now on, if you can speak to me wherever you want, I will never refuse. Yes, Ocean, you saved me again. Sister Yanzi sincerely thanks you. Du Guan followed Yu Xianheng. As a married woman, she looked much gentler than before. Xianheng, brothers, there is no need to be polite. Sister Yanzi is just like my own sister. Of course I won't let anything happen to you. Tianlin said with a smile. Looking at the happy younger generation, Ning Fengxi and Yu Yuanzhen were very happy. Not only their older generation, but also the relationship between the heirs of the two sects was so good. It seemed that they did not need to worry about the follow-up of the sect's cooperation in the future matter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284. Ning Fengxi's speculation and determination. Yu Yuanzhen's family was also here. Tianlin couldn't say some words, so he had to chat with them for a while. Seemingly noticing Tianlin's hesitation, Yu Yuanzhen, who was also an old fox, knew that he had disturbed the husband-in-law, and immediately smiled and said, by the way, sect leader Ning, are my relatives here? It's rare for me to come here. It's time to pay a visit. Jaina has always missed her grandfather. Of course, Uncle Dugu is over there in the medicine hall. In last night's battle, although not many people from our sect died, many were injured. He has been refining healing elixirs for the sect's disciples. Come. Here, take Chief Yu to the medicine hall. Ning Fengxi called out, and soon a disciple came, and respectfully led Yu Yuanzhen and others down. Ocean, we'll see you later. Yu Xianheng and Du Guan nodded to Tianlin, and left the hall. The last person walking was Luo Man. He didn't say a word to Tianlin and just passed him. At this moment, the Holy Spirit bead in Tianlin's body once again sent a warning. This situation was the same as last night. Exactly the same. Tianlin turned around and looked at Luo Mian's back, secretly guessing, is this guy just? When Tianlin was confused, Ning Fengxi looked at Tianlin and said, Ocean, I know what you want to ask when you come here now, but you don't have to be confused. Although Zuking sent troops to attack Haoshan sect, it seems to have nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with it, but in fact, I contributed to it and designed it using you before. Tianlin opened his mouth. Ning Fengxi already knew what he wanted to ask, but Tianlin didn't understand how Ning Fengxi did it. Seeing Tianlin's confusion, Ning Fengxi explained, Ocean, I told you last night that I suspected that Zhu Beng was related to Wuhan Palace, but I didn't know that Zhu Beng was controlled at the time. One thing is certain. That means Zhu Beng must not know Zuking's true identity. Otherwise, he shouldn't be cooperating with Wuhan Palace to bring down our Qibao Glazed sect, a force that seems to support Zuking. Instead, he should be cooperating with my Qibao Glazed sect. Go directly to expose Zuking, and Zuking didn't know that Zhu Beng was actually one of theirs at that time. Otherwise, she wouldn't have had to resort to tricks to gradually force away the generals. You know, the two of them together can be said to have controlled everything in the court. With the power, the soul hunting operation can be advanced by at least a few months. So, I took advantage of the information gap here and imitated your handwriting to write a letter to Zuking. The content of the letter was very simple. It basically said that I, Ning Fengxi, discovered the poisoning of Emperor Zhu Yi through Du Gubo. Qibao had already. I was preparing the antidote, and I found out her identity by some unknown means, and sent someone to notify Marshal Jelong and Prince Zubeng, preparing to join forces to deal with her. But you, Zhang Tianlin, believed that she was innocent, and she was definitely not. Someone from the Wuhan Palace is pretending to be someone, and because of my long friendship with her, I wrote a letter to remind her to escape from the palace immediately to avoid being killed. Oh, by the way, I also deliberately mentioned in the letter that, in order to deal with Wuhan Palace, our Qibao Glazed sect is preparing to join forces with the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus family and the Haoshan sect, which has just discovered the location. The three sects will join forces to fight together. Strong enemy. After listening to Ning Feng's words, Tianlin completely understood that this old fox had even taken advantage of the relationship between himself and Qian Ringsu. Once Qian Ringsu sees the letter, she will get two pieces of information. 1. She was exposed. Jelong was coming with his army. She had to leave quickly. After all, there were only a few people around her. No matter how strong her personal strength was, they could not stop Jelong's army of millions. 2. The three upper sects are preparing to join forces to deal with Wuhan Palace. Tianlin thought about it again. No, there were probably 3 items for this love-minded little angel. The third item, Tianlin really hit her in his heart, otherwise he would not have written such a thing. That was almost betraying the interests of the sect. Xing came to save her. If Shilong were here, he would definitely understand it completely. No wonder their young master had mixed emotions when reading the letter. Qian Ringsu has always been determined to make a decision, and at that time she had made 2 preparations. First, if the soul hunting operation went smoothly, the Qibao Glazed sect and the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family were destroyed, and Ning Fengxi and others died, then she would continue to stay in the palace. Even if Jelong comes with his army, she can say that Jelong has participated in the party struggle, helped Zubeng, and accuse him of treason. Anyway, Ning Fengxi and Du Qibao were dead, and they couldn't save Emperor Zuyi. With Jelong's character, as long as Zuking argued hard, he would not take action without evidence. Secondly, if something goes wrong with the plan, and Ning Fengxi and other important figures escape, then Zuking will find a way to weaken the empire and the Shangsun sect to the maximum extent before evacuating the palace. As for the failure of the soul hunting operation, she actually never thought about it. After all, both Golden Crocodile and Subduing Demon took action, and they couldn't even catch a Qibao Glazed sect with ease. Qibao and Landian had their own enshrinement hall and papal hall to deal with, leaving only one Haoshan sect, which was originally a dual Douluo sect. After Tang Hao left, outsiders only knew about one sect and one Douluo. She is now holding some of Emperor Zui's military talismans and jade seals. It was not difficult to mobilize the troops of several nearby big cities in advance under the false imperial edict. And she herself left behind the power to severely damage the Xiandao royal family. That's why Ning Fengxi asked Tianlin to deliberately spare Shilong's life last night, asking him to inform Zuking about the failure of the soul hunting operation and let her start the second plan. Then came the news that Tianlin heard. All the royal nobles in Xiandao Palace, except Zubeng and Zhu Crossing who were outside yesterday, and Zuke who was in Yuxun, suffered heavy casualties. The only thing that Zuking underestimated was the power of the Haoshan sect. She did not expect that this hidden sect actually had so many titled Douluo. As a result, the war between the two sides resulted in a disastrous defeat for the Xiandao Empire, but the loss of the Haoshan sect, not small either. This made the people of the Haoshan sect very angry. They were still being attacked even though they were in hiding. In anger, they directly chose to come out and vowed to seek justice from the Xiandao Empire. Of course, Zubeng and Zhu Crossing would definitely send someone to explain that this was designed by the people from Wuhan Palace. Unfortunately, their actions were not as fast as Wuhan Palace. Almost early this morning, Wuhan Palace notified the entire continent that they would make every effort to find out who the unknown force was that attacked the two sects Qibao and Landian yesterday, and make them pay a price to maintain the peace of Douluo Continent, and at the same time strongly condemn the Xiandao Empire's unprovoked attack on the Haoshan sect. Now Haoshan sect doesn't know which side to believe, because both sides have reasons to take action. Needless to say, Wuhan Palace has a deep hatred and will not stop until death point. Before the Haotian sect retired from the world, they had already been attracted by Xingluo and secretly began to support the Xingluo Empire. However, their sect was born in the Xiandao Empire. To Xiandao, what is the difference between them and traitors? They want to destroy them. Equally reasonable point, you can just say that it was designed by Wu Handian. Where is the evidence? They only knew that the people who took action were Xiandao's army, and this hatred could not be erased. Point as expected of master and apprentice. Ning Fengzi had been Zuking's teacher for so many years, and knew his character almost completely. Point I'm afraid that after Tianlin let Kan Ringsu know the location of Haotian sect, he started planning point, and he will definitely take other measures later. In fact, Ning Fengzi doesn't need to design so many. With his ability and the current strength of the Qibao Glazed sect, it is more than enough if he just protects himself wisely on the mainland point. But Xianlin's goal is more than that. As a father-in-law, of course he must pave a road for him. Point however, is it a bit exaggerated to make the three major forces of Wuhan Palace, Xiandao Empire and Haotian sect so intimidated by just one letter? Moreover, no matter how we investigate this matter, we can't find it. On Ning Fengzi's head point it doesn't matter, even if someone sees the letter. Anyway, judging from the handwriting, it was written by Xianlin, not him. Point after all, Xianlin was still young, and attached great importance to friendship. He was deceived by Zuking, because he was new to the world. He always insisted on believing that he was not a spy. Some women's benevolence was normal. It was enough to take him back and discipline him. Xianlin was still a little confused when he left the Qibao hall. He was glad that he had joined the Qibao Glazed sect so that he would not have to be enemies with people like Ning Fengzi. After Xianlin left, Ning Fengzi's expression changed slightly. During this whole incident, he was still thinking about a doubt, which was why Zuking didn't know that Zhu Beng was one of those. There must be a third force in Wuhan Palace. But no matter who you are, Ning Fengzi, will definitely find you out. The future of Xianlin, Rangrong, and all the children of Qibao Glazed sect will never be allowed to anyone come and destroy. Chapter 285, The Choice of Poseidon's Successor and the God-Making Plan. As soon as Xianlin walked out of the Seven Treasures Hall, the sword mark on his forehead flashed with light. The third test of Shura God, the sect's catastrophe. Kill more than 80% of the invading enemies. If you complete it, you will be rewarded with 10% affinity with Shura God. Currently 25%. This Lord Shura God is quite considerate. He posted the task after he had rested. Xianlin took advantage of the situation and summoned the fourth Shura card, but the content of the assessment surprised Xianlin. The fourth test of Shura God. Reactivate the Heart of Poseidon. Vast sea universe cover. Time limit is 3 years. Xianlin was stunned. The purpose of Shura God's assessment was clearly to ask him to find a successor to Poseidon. But what does his Shura God's assessment have to do with Poseidon? In fact, this was the condition that Shura God promised to Poseidon. Since Xianlin used Poseidon's heart, he owed Poseidon a favor, and of course he had to repay it. The reason why God Shura agreed was that he felt that this test was not difficult. Not to mention the distance. Just saying that among the people Xianlin knew, he found a person who had the potential to succeed Poseidon, and that was someone who had traveled through time with him. The author's Tangsun. This person has been a human for 2 lives, and he has cultivated spiritual power since he was a child. His soul is extremely strong. Coupled with his twin martial souls, as long as Xianlin gives him a fairy grass to strengthen his body, he will definitely reach the standard of becoming a god. But this guy ignored one thing. Tangsun and Xianlin could be said to be half enemies, but not to the level of mortal enemies. When he was full, he gave Tangsun fairy grass and Poseidon's heart. Xianlin must find someone else to complete this task. At this time, countless people in the Qibao Glazed sect are working hard, whether they are soul masters or ordinary people. They are all doing their part to rebuild the sect. Everyone looked tired, but they were all smiling, because compared to houses collapsing and the earth cracking, living is the most important thing. Brother Jan, how is your health? Ning Rangrang ran over and asked with concern. When Xianlin came back yesterday, both his soul power and mental power were exhausted. He looked like he was seriously ill, but it made her anxious. But as a successor of the sect, she had too many things to do yesterday. She not only had to lead her disciples to rebuild the sect, but also take care of the frightened people of Qibao City. In addition, as the daughter-in-law, she also comforted her parents-in-law, who had been frightened for a long time. It can be said that I have been busy all night, and now I have time to visit Tianlin. Rangrong, don't worry, I'm fine. I don't dare to say anything else. In terms of recovery ability, even the master and the others can't compare to me. Tianlin said with a smile. By the way, where are the master and Grandpa Bones? Grandpa Bones is guarding the two people caught yesterday. Grandpa Eagle is worried about the fish that slipped through the net and escaped, so he went to patrol the mountain. Grandpa Douluo has been making elixirs. As for Grandpa Jian, he has been sitting there since last night. On top of the mountain, it was motionless. Master, are you preparing for another upcoming battle? Tianlin understood that Chenzin was closing his eyes to rest and accumulate sword energy point. When Golden Crocodile was caught by them, Qibao would definitely not remain indifferent. He was much stronger than Golden Crocodile. Chenzin had to sacrifice everything he had if he wanted to defeat him. We will definitely win. We won yesterday, didn't we? Ningrangrang took Tianlin's hand and said firmly, but this time, you can't make excuses to drive me down the mountain. I know that my support ability is not as good as my father's, and I don't have the fighting ability, but I really want to face difficulties with you, my father, and some of my grandfathers. Ningrangrang is still very smart. She actually knows that Tianlin asked her to lead people to fight Hu Yanli yesterday, just because he didn't want her to be in danger. But this time is different. There will be no small roles for her to practice. Okay, just stay. I will protect you. It's a pity that the vast sea universe shield can't be used. Otherwise, as long as Uncle Ning helps me, I will even have the confidence to face Qibao alone. Tianlin took out the blue cover, all said with regret. It was able to be used before. Probably because Poseidon just made a small fuss out of Shuragod's face. It just so happens that the current assessment is to activate it again. Then we have to find another person who is worthy of inheriting the throne of Poseidon. But there seems to be no such person around Tianlin. Ning Fengzi, Ning Rangrong, several grandfathers, Guran, Mahangjan, Yushianheng and others are all inconsistent with the attributes of Poseidon. You can't really give it back to Tangsan. Tianlin doesn't have such an excessive virgin heart. If you don't need it, then don't use it. Anyway, as long as I'm with you, I'm not afraid of anything. The Nine Nether Ghost Prison, the Bliss Fairyland. Having a king is a joy, and not having a king is suffering. Ningrangrang looked at Tianlin and smiled charmingly. With Ocean, your fiancé is really quite good. The fluctuation of her soul when she said these words is very firm. She is really determined to die. Tianmeng Bingbing admired. I have 3 of my Bingbings. It's a different style. Bingbing? Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion. Tianlin suddenly thought of something, entered the Sea of Spirits, and looked at Tianmeng Bingshu with burning eyes. Ocean, why are you looking at me like this? Tianmeng Bingxi was a little embarrassed by his look. Brother. Tianmeng, I remember you said that you can add a martial spirit to me, but I don't need it. Can your ability be transferred to others? Tianlin asked expectantly. Tianmeng Bingkan instantly guessed what he was thinking. Do you want to get a second martial spirit for your Angrang? It's better to stop thinking about it. Brother's ability is not that strong yet. Only you who can fully absorb brother's power can. Brother can help you get a new martial spirit, and it cannot be transplanted to others. Hearing this, Tianlin was a little disappointed. It was indeed his whims. However, there is actually another way to obtain the second martial soul. Tianmeng Bingshan panted heavily. Tianlin suddenly raised his head, but he didn't expect to be able to turn around, and asked excitedly, what can I do, little God? Do you know about the soul beast embryo? It is a transitional state between when the soul beast reaches the 100,000 year level and chooses to transform into an adult to completely become a human being. In this state, the soul beast will be completely in the closed state. Power and memory are all blocked. If someone directly absorbs this soul beast embryo at this time, then there is a certain chance that the soul beast in this embryo will be turned into his second martial soul. Of course, this requires extremely high quality in all aspects of human beings. It is difficult for ordinary people to directly withstand the power of the second martial spirit. However, if I have the help of my million-year cultivation and your Holy Spirit domain, the success rate will be high. There will definitely be a huge increase. Yes, soul beast embryo. I actually forgot this method. Tianlin was suddenly overjoyed. As long as Ning Rangrang gets water, or a variant of water, such as a powerful martial spirit with attributes such as ice and snow, her attributes will be in tune with Poseidon Point. If Tianlin finds a way to further improve her qualifications, then she might be qualified to inherit Poseidon Point. Tianlin didn't want her to inherit the position of the 9-colored goddess. Firstly, she was just a second level god. Secondly, the original 9-colored goddess chose Ning Rangrang largely for Oscar's sake point, because the goddess of 9 colors and the god of cookery are husband and wife. Ning Rangrang has nothing to do with Oscar now. The goddess of 9 colors may not necessarily choose her. Even if he chooses her, if Oscar inherits the god of cookery in the future, Tianlin will also feel that this kind of conjugal status will be with him. Die from response point. Poseidon is much stronger than 9 colors goddess in every aspect. Ocean, don't be too happy. Finding the soul beast embryo may not be as easy as finding the god's throne. Qian Meng Binkan reminded. It doesn't matter, I already have a goal. How about your Bingbing or Bing Xiang Sunu? Persuade one of them to become Rangrang's wise martial spirit. Ocean, are you kidding? They are all ferocious beasts. Well, you may not know that once a soul beast breaks through 200,000 years, it is basically difficult to become a human again. Qian Meng Bingxi was not optimistic about Tianlin's choice, but Tianlin was confident that he had a way to turn the ferocious beast into a human. When the time comes, it would depend on whether Qian Meng's persuasive tongue could persuade him. Conquer them. Point after all, this is also very beneficial to Qian Meng Ice Silkworm and these two ferocious beasts. It is difficult for soul beasts to become gods. Only the companion divine beast is safer and can give them eternal life. As for Qian Meng, it is not have you always wanted to live with your ice cold twin? In the future, when it and the ice green emperor scorpion become the companion beasts of him and Ning Rangrang, respectively, the chances of impressing the beautiful woman's heart will definitely increase if they are together in the past point. If one of these two ferocious beasts becomes Rangrang's wisdom spirit and the other becomes her wisdom spirit ring, then Ning Rangrang will have the capital to be recognized by the heart of the Poseidon Point. In addition, Tianlin has another preparation to make. It seems that after repelling Kai and Aoliu, he will seize the time to go to Douluo Point. The minimum clan has something that is very helpful to his plan to create a god. Chapter 286. Great Enshrinement in Wuhan Hall. Thousands of Daoist movements. Wuhan Palace Point. Pope Bibidong put down the tea in his hand and listened quietly to the report of his subordinate Cardinal Point. It's just that the cardinal's legs were shaking when he was reporting. Obviously, the result was very bad. In the battle with the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family, a total of 8,000 Soul Masters were sent. However, due to the opponent's preparations, they failed. The Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus family injured about 500 people. We successfully evacuated after injuring 3,000 people. Among them, the Crazy Lion the Elder was killed on the spot by Yu Yuansen. In the battle with the Qibao Glazed sect, a total of 10,000 Soul Masters were sent, including 1,000 members of the lower 4 sects. Before the Qibao Glazed sect's defense was defeated, the Qibao Glazed sect counterattacked as soon as they entered the city, causing heavy damage. After a fierce battle in the middle of the night, 10,000 Soul Masters were almost wiped out, but Elder Lingbian, Elder Snake Spear and the leader of the Wind Sword sect, Feng Xianlei, returned safely. Hu Yansen, the leader of the Elephant Armor sect, Elder Demon Bear, and Elder Gizhao all died at the hands of the Sword Master of the Qibao Glazed sect. The 7th consecration and the 2nd consecration were captured alive by Bone Douluo and Sword Douluo respectively. The number of casualties from the Qibao Glazed sect is less than 100. Bang! The teacup in Bibidong's hand instantly turned into powder. Arsehole. A total of 18,000 soul masters were attacked, including 2 super Douluo and 8 ordinary titled Douluo. It was another sneak attack. Not only did the damage be so great, but no merit was achieved. These top 3 Zhang, is he really that strong? The members of Wuhan Palace were silent for a while. No one dared to say a word, so as not to offend the angry His Majesty the Pope again. Point at this time, only Ling Yuan, who had just returned and understood what had happened and was a titled Douluo, dared to explain a little bit. Your Majesty, please calm down. This time we really underestimated the 7 treasure glazed sect too much. They seem to be treating us badly. We are fully aware of the soul hunting operations, and every arrangement hits our vital points, and Ning Fengzi, not only did he break the limitations of the 7 treasures glazed pagoda and evolve his martial soul into the 9 treasures glazed pagoda, but he also became a titled Douluo with a 100,000 year 9th soul ring, a sword Douluo and a bone Douluo. Not only the 96th level and the 95th level according to intelligence, Bone Douluo has reached level 96, and Sword Douluo has reached level 98. It was with the assistance of Ning Fengzi that the 2 of them were able to completely suppress and captured 2 worshippers alive. Level 98. How is this possible? Bibi Dong was horrified. You must know that due to the Rakshasa test, part of the strength she can bring out is only level 98. In other words, even if she takes action in person, he may not be able to win the 7 treasures glazed sect. Okay. It seems that the ranking of the top 3 sects should have been rewritten a long time ago. Ning Fengzi can't tolerate it. He has clearly surpassed the Haotian sect, but he is willing to stay in the 2nd position for 1,000 years. In the end, we were caught off guard. One blow. Let's continue. What happened to the Sword Lord? He is at most a high level soul emperor now, but he can actually kill 2 of our titled Douluo elders in a row. When Tianlin was mentioned, the look of fear in Ling Yuan's beautiful eyes was even higher than when Chen Xin was mentioned. No, Your Majesty, he has already become a soul saint, and he has 200,000 coins. The soul ring is over 10 years old, and according to him, the age of the 7th soul ring is as high as 460,000 years, and he is a twin martial soul, and he has fully reached the title level, just by using the combat power of the 1st martial soul. After revealing the 2nd martial spirit, he can summon an extremely terrifying giant. The giant is even more powerful than himself, and can temporarily suppress the demon subduing worshipper. The demon subduing worshipper was severely injured by Tianlin first. We were attacked by Bone Douluo's weird attack again, so we were defeated so quickly. The Wuhan hall was completely quiet, and you could hear a pin drop. If it weren't for Tianlin's solid record, none of them would believe what Ling Yuan said. Point after all, this is too unbelievable. Twin martial souls, a 460,000 year old soul ring, a soul saint body that can completely suppress a titled Douluo, and can also summon a giant that can rival a super Douluo. Point, is this still a human being? He's obviously a monster, especially the Platinum Bishop Salas who came to attend the meeting. He was already sweating. The information that Tianlin was nothing to worry about, and Tang Xin was the enemy, was written by him himself. Now he could still recall the horror, jealousy, and fear on the faces of Tianlin and Ning Fengzi when Tang Xin revealed his 2nd spirit, the clear sky hammer. Ning Fengzi also said that except for His Majesty the Pope, he had never seen or even heard of a 2nd twin spirit owner. It turned out that these 2 people were all pretending. The young man was too ungrateful and teamed up to deceive the old man, Tianlin. Bibi Dong grabbed her scepter tightly, as if crushing it into powder. She really regretted it. When she was in Wuhan City, she should have ignored it and killed her directly. Got Tianlin's now that he has fully grown up and is protected by the 7 treasures glazed sect. He can no longer kill him, even if he wants to. Moreover, they suffered heavy losses this time, and in a short period of time, they may not be able to do anything to the upper 3 sects. Well, His Majesty the Pope, Tianlin had something to convey to Shilong, but Shilong still had to protect the young master, so he entrusted it to me. Say, Bibi Dong said coldly. He asked me to tell you and Lord Dakang Bang that the 2nd blessing and the 7th blessing are in their hands. If you want to get them back, you have to ask the Lord to go there in person within 3 days. It is best to bring a servant with you, because if the Lord they are not responsible for collecting the bodies of those who enshrine the dead. Ling Yidan finished speaking tremblingly. She now deeply hates Shilong. Can she say this? As for protecting the young master, it was clearly because he was afraid of conveying it and forced it to her. Arrogant. A majestic man's voice echoed in the whole point except for Bibidang. Everyone subconsciously paid homage, including those titled Douluo elders. Everyone knelt on the ground and said in unison, "See the big offering. I haven't left the enshrinement hall for decades. I'm afraid that people outside have forgotten the name of the Shuangayu soul master in those days. Anyway, this time I will go to meet the 7 treasures glazed sect in person." Inside the main hall, the echoing voice lingered for a long time, but it felt like the speaker was getting farther and farther away. Qibao figure never appeared. He had already flown thousands of miles away. This one of the 3 ultimate Douluo in the world, known as the Invincible King in the Sky, finally took action in person. On the other side, outside Xiandao Imperial City, Qianlin had already left the palace. After all, from the letter from Tianlin, she knew that Ningfengzi had learned her true identity and would definitely come to deal with her in the future. Since the soul hunting operation failed, it would be in danger for her to continue to stay in the Xiandao Empire. After hearing the story of the soul hunting operation from Shilong, Qianlin shed a tear and landed on the lovesick red hand in her hand. Why, Xiaoshan, you actually have twin martial souls and such powerful strength. Have you been lying to me, or have you never believed me? This love-minded little angel. The 2 major failures of the soul hunting operation and the plan to control Xiandao, combined, were not as harmful as the damage caused by Xianlin's concealment of her. Chapter 287 The Thriving Sect and the Arrival of Qibao. Young master, don't pay too much attention to that scumbag. Seeing Qianling's devastated look, Shilong tried his best to comfort her. What? A scumbag? I lied to him. He didn't even know that I was a girl. Besides, my identity at the time was that I was Prince Xiandao. It's normal for him to be a little on guard. Qianlin had a love brain attack and took the initiative to find many excuses for Tianlin. Next, Douluo, who was still arguing, was speechless because everything she said made sense. A rational genius must know how to hide it before he fully grows up. Except for his closest relatives and loved ones, he cannot completely escape from outsiders, no matter how good the relationship is. To be honest, if Tianlin had exposed the terrifying talents of his twin martial souls to outsiders a long time ago, I'm afraid that he would have ignored Qianling's orders and taken action at all costs when Tianlin was in the Royal Academy. But now, he is afraid that he is no longer a match for Tianlin. Just when everyone's eyes are attracted to Tang San, thinking that his potential surpasses Tianlin, this sword master has been silent and only revealed his second place potential, and has no interest in the name of the first genius. It wasn't until last night that he completely broke out, became a blockbuster, and became one of the strongest people in the world. Just like the Qibao glazed sect's strength has clearly surpassed that of the Haoshan sect, but they are still willing to settle for second place because they understand the principle of beating the first bird with a gun. The second is always easier to mess with than the first. People from this sect are under Ningfeng's leadership. Under the leadership, they all like to be forbearing. Oh, young master, forget about him. Shilong had no choice but to persuade him in the end. I will forget him, but before that, I want to see him again. Qianlin raised her head with a firm gaze. This frightened Shilong, and he immediately stopped him. Young master, you want to go to the Qibao glazed sect? This is not possible. The strength of the Qibao glazed sect is far beyond our imagination. The blood stabbing is dead. I can completely protect you when we get there. I can't help you. Qianlin shook her head. There is no need to go to their sect. I can write a letter and ask someone to invite him out. From what I know about him, he will not bring anyone to harm me. That was before, but now you are enemies. Young master, you will always have a chance to see him in the future. Our top priority is to leave the Xiandao Empire and return to the Wuhan Palace. Shilong persuaded her earnestly. The situation is so urgent. Now is really not the time to have a love brain attack. Why go to all this trouble? If you want to see that kid, why not go directly to the Seven Treasures Glazed sect? Suddenly, a voice came from the sky, from far to near, as if it had directly entered the souls of the two of them. The person's cultivation level was unimaginably high. You must know that in addition to Shilong, a real 9-ring titled Douluo, Qinbingsu also had title level strength, but the appearance of this person did not attract the attention of any of them. The holy light fell, and a handsome middle-aged man stretched out 6 sacred wings, and floated in front of the two people. Grandfather, Shi Long pays homage to the great enshrinement. Seeing the visitor, the two of them were extremely excited. Qinbingsu missed her most important family member after not seeing them for a long time, while Shi Long felt relieved. The big offering was coming. No one in this world could hurt Qinbingsu. What Qibao? Liuli sect, if you want to go, just go. Well, Liu nodded towards the two of them. Zua, let's go. I just want to go and meet that boy. I want to see what this boy who promised me to collect the body for him is really capable of. Hearing this, Qinbingsu was startled. Tianlin was too bold. Anyone who dared to speak to Liu like this was probably not even born yet. Shilong didn't even dare to send a message and directly pushed it to the woman Ling Yuan. He was so shameless. Well, grandpa, don't be angry. Xiaoshan is a genius, so he is inevitably a little arrogant. When I see him this time, I just want him to apologize to you, perhaps, because she was used to it. Qinbingsu subconsciously spoke up for Tianlin, which made Liu, the ultimate Douluo, stagger and almost get mad at her granddaughter. How long has it been? And you are still speaking for your enemies. The strongest opponent is about to come, but at this time, the Qibao Glazed sect is still peaceful. Everyone is working hard to rebuild the sect. It is getting late at night. After a day's work, you can finally take a rest. Guran has absorbed the 40,000-year-old golden elephant skull that he snatched from Hu Yanli and is showing off to Mahanjan and others. Little fat man, how many soul bones do you have in your body? I have 4 of them now, and most of them were obtained with the help of my boss. How about it? Sure enough, the boss loves me more. Guran said proudly to Mahanjan. TSK, what's so great about it? Mahanjan was a little annoyed. He only had 1 piece on his body, and the quantity was far less than Guran's. Guran is indeed proud of himself. At his current pace, he may be able to gather all 6 soul bones in his body by the time he becomes a titled Douluo. A titled Douluo with a full body of soul bones and a titled Douluo without soul bones are fundamentally different levels. As long as he does not reach the Super Douluo realm, that causes a qualitative change. Even if Guran breaks through level 90 in the future, he will be able to defeat a titled Douluo without soul bones. The 94th level titled Douluo with soul bone was beaten to the point where he could no longer take care of himself. In the original work, Tang Heo was able to completely defeat the digital titles in the Wuhan Palace when he first entered the title. In addition to being strong enough with his 100,000-year soul ring and Haoshan's special skills, the 6 soul bones in his body were also an important factor. Tianlin happened to hold Ning Rangrang's hand and walked over at this time. Seeing his appearance, he slapped him on the back of the head. Why are you so proud? You are only good at strength. You are far behind in other aspects. That day if I ask you to act in a play, your crying would be too exaggerated, isn't that an exaggeration? Guran said aggrievedly. It's not an exaggeration to just howl without shedding a single tear. Acting requires careful attention. You are too superficial, boss. The problem is, those who died were from Wuhan Palace, or enemies who wanted to kill our family. If they were killed, it would be great if I didn't laugh out loud, but I still shed tears. You are making things too difficult for me. Since you can't cry, you should express your sadness through silence like me. Seeing the two people arguing word by word, Mahanjan was stunned, looked at Rangrang and said, Rangrang, are they exchanging acting experiences? Did they go astray? Don't worry. Although Brother Jian is a genius, he gets sick from time to time. Guran has been infected by him for a long time. I'm used to it. Ning Rangrang said helplessly. Lingling on the side nodded in approval. I'm used to it too. Several of the boys in Huangdao now basically have brain twitching from time to time. Days like this are considered relaxing and comfortable for anyone here. Unfortunately, just when everyone was enjoying themselves, the tranquility was broken. A golden ray of light fell from the sky. Clearly it was night, but it illuminated the entire sect, as if it were day. Chapter 288. The sect is united to fight against powerful enemies. Are you here? Looking at the golden light in the sky, Chenzin on the cloth opened his eyes, took out the 7 kills sword, and flew back to the sect with the sword. Jun, Tianlin, Ning Fengzi, Kendao Chengxin, don't you want to see me? Now that I'm here, you still haven't come out to see me. This voice is not only majestic, but also full of sacredness. Just listening to it makes people subconsciously want to worship. In the Qibao Glazed sect, countless disciples can't help but want to kneel down. Douluo is about to develop the power of spreading faith into his passive skill. Ning Fengzi quickly led all the sect protector Douluo and Thunder Douluo Yuansen and others out of the hall and bowed respectfully in the direction of the source of the sound. Ning Fengzi is very honored to have the great priest of Wuhan Palace come to our sect in person. Tianlin also came over with Guran, Mahanjan and others. He said directly senior. As soon as he stepped into someone else's territory, he exerted power on the master. Isn't it too disrespectful? When he said this, he borrowed a little bit of Shura's divine power from the Shura sword seal on his forehead. The disciples of the sect who had been affected by the Douluo angel's divine power recovered instantly. They still didn't know what happened to them just now. Why did he suddenly kneel down to the enemy? With a flash of light, 3 figures were already standing in the center of the square, none other than Douluo, Rinxu and Shilong. In order for Tianlin to recognize her, Rinxu once again took on the appearance of Zuking, the breath of God. Douluo looked at Tianlin solemnly. He would never admit it, after serving the angel god for many years. Although it was still very faint, Tianlin's body definitely exuded a trace of the breath of God just now. Could it be that this child has already started taking the divine examination? Douluo had no doubt that Tianlin could be favored by the gods. This kind of qualification surpassed that of his own granddaughter. It would be strange if he could not qualify for the divine examination. To his surprise, Tianlin started the divine examination. It's too early. You must know that every test in the divine examination is generally extremely difficult, so even for his granddaughter Rinxu, he has never dared to let her come into contact with the divine examination prematurely, because he is afraid that she is not strong enough and will die during the examination. Taudis appears the current Tianlin is only over level 70. In other words, he may have already begun to face the divine test during the Sol Emperor period, and may have even passed several of them. This man could no longer stay. Douluo made up his mind at this moment. Today he would not only take away the golden crocodile and the demon subduer, but also take away Tianlin's life. Otherwise, once his divine examination is completed, Wuhan Palace will have nothing to lose. The power to fight back. Noticing Douluo's killing intent, Tianlin smiled nonchalantly. In his current situation, it was strange that Douluo didn't want to kill him. His eyes turned to Rinxu. Can I still call you Brother Zhu now? Rinxu shook her head and flew into the air. With a graceful rotation of her body, the original male body transformed into a charming woman with blonde hair. Her skin was like snow and her eyes were powerful, somewhat similar to Bibi Dong's temperament. In terms of appearance, she is no less beautiful than Ning Rongrong, Yi Lingling and others. My real name is Rinxu. Ocean, I'm sorry for lying to you for so many years. It's me who should be sorry, Zudan. No, it should be Sister Zhu. After all these years, do you really think I don't know anything about it? Tianlin whispered, I've just been using you to gain the heavenly Dao, the Empire's resources, such as the vast sea universe cover. Sure enough, you have realized it a long time ago. Rinxu was not hysterical, because she was deceived. Not only was she unusually calm, but she was also a little relieved, because in this way, she and Tianlin were even, since they had deceived and used each other. Then no one owes anyone. He took the vast sea universe shield from him, but he also gave her the peerless fairy acacia heartbroken red. Rinxu didn't believe it. If Tianlin didn't care about her at all. The reason why he said this now was just to hope that he would not be merciful in the future fight. In terms of understanding Tianlin's character, Kyan Ringsu is still better than Ning Rangrong. Xiaoshan, Grandpa and I are here today, just to return the 2nd and 7th offerings of my Wuhan palace. As long as you return them, for the sake of our old friendship, we can leave immediately. Kyan Ringsu promised. Kyan Douluo frowned slightly when he heard this. His granddaughter was still soft-hearted. You know, he originally wanted to directly eradicate the weeds here today, but by saying this, she was undoubtedly leaving a way out for that kid. If you don't kill today, you will have no chance in the future. Snake Spear Douluo on the side could understand Kyan Ringsu. During the soul hunting operation, she had already been cruel once, but failed. When she heard the news, she was very angry, but also a little happy. Girls are always more emotional than men. Now, as a woman, it is probably difficult for her to be cruel a second time. Return. Haha, Sister Zhu, you are thinking too simply. Your Wuhan palace has launched a soul hunting operation against my Qibao Glazed sect with the intention of destroying my sect. Do you think that our friendship can make up for such a huge loss? Hatred? Besides, this action was carried out with your permission or even with your help. At that time, I was also on your must-kill list. Tianlin sneered. Then, what do you want? Snake Spear Douluo said angrily. Although the soul hunting operation was carried out, your sect didn't lose much at all. On the contrary, my spirit hall suffered more than 10,000 casualties. Isn't that enough? Of course it's not enough. Let me tell you, to me, only the lives of innocent people are life and are worthy of respect and protection. Since the people sent by you Wuhan Palace want to destroy my sect, then from my standpoint, let alone 10,000, even if it were 100,000, they would all be worthy of death. When Tianlin said this, both Kyan Ringsu and Shilong could completely feel his anger. As the attacked party, the Qibao Glazed sect was still a victim, even if it won the battle. Stubborn, Ning Fengzi, you just watch your subordinates go crazy? Kyan Douluo looked at Ning Fengzi and asked, subordinate? Ning Fengzi stood directly next to Tianlin and ordered loudly, all Qibao Glazed sect disciples obey the order. Tianlin has made several great achievements for our sect, and when a powerful enemy attacked, he fought with one man titled Douluo. Today, I will appoint him as the deputy sect leader of our sect, with the same authority as the sect leader, and his equal status with me. His thoughts represent the thoughts of the sect. Do you have any objections? No. Objection. A roar like a mountain roaring, and a tsunami echoed throughout the Qibao Glazed sect. The disciples of the Qibao Glazed sect all know that the hidden weapons, spells, body techniques they practice now, and the pills they take during daily practice, are actually all brought back by Tianlin. He has brought benefits to the sect time and time again, and has also brought benefits to the sect. During the soul hunting operation, he took the lead, showed his strength, and saved countless people. With the support of the 4 sect protector Douluo, everyone was convinced by the name of Deputy Sect Master Ning Fengzi smiled and said, Senior Kyan Douluo, you heard it. Everyone in our Qibao Glazed sect is united. This is not Xiaoshan's personal will, but the idea of the entire sect. You want to take it away today without paying any price. The golden crocodile and the subjugation of demons are just idiotic dreams. Humph. Since you are willing to let go of the way my granddaughter has given you, then accept the angel's sanction. Kyan Douluo snorted coldly, and the golden light shined all over his body. The huge sense of oppression made the entire sect feel like they were carrying their backs. It is difficult to move even an inch on the mountain, and even the soul power cannot be gathered. Kyan Douluo, if we don't take the road you gave us, what will happen to us? A huge 7-killed sword fell from the sky, and the sword energy turned into a shield. At this moment, everyone felt a lightness on their shoulders, and breathed a sigh of relief. Shenzin stood in front of everyone, bearing all the pressure from Kyan Douluo alone. Gurong and Ning Fengzi stepped forward, and stood beside Shenzin. The 3 of them had always been the patron saints of the sect. In the past, the 3 of them once traveled the continent side by side, and made the 7 treasures Glazed sect famous. Today, the 3 of them will finally join hands again, and fight against one of the strongest men in the Douluo Continent. Chapter 289 The Powerful Kyan Douluo. The atmosphere in Qibao Glazed sect is getting colder and colder. Old Bones, use your defense to protect the children from being hurt by the aftermath. Chenzin looked at Qian Daoliu with a firm gaze. Leave him to me and Feng Zhi. With Qian Daoliu as his opponent, everyone must be prepared to fight to the death. Chenzin is already prepared. If his strongest method is no match for Qian Daoliu later, then he will risk everything and die with him. Kendo. Chengxin, level 98. You are indeed stronger than your father, but to me, 98 is just a bigger ant than 97. Even if he didn't release 1,000 soul living rings, he just looked at Chenzin calmly. Chenzin knew that he had to take action, otherwise, sooner or later, he would be oppressed and unable to move. The first soul skill, longsword attack. Chenzin's first soul ring flashed past. This is a status soul skill that increases attack power by 30%. 9. Treasure's true body. Ning Fengzi also activated the 9 treasures true body immediately. Under the 9 treasures true body, the soul power consumed by all his soul skills is halved, which can greatly increase his assistance time. 9 treasures true body. There is a famous saying that the strength, speed, soul defense and attack increase. 6 types of assistance came out. At this moment, Chenzin's strength skyrocketed, and he was infinitely close to the ultimate Douluo level. His attack power surged to 230% of the usual level. Qian Daoliu's expression changed slightly. Chenzin was so strong at the moment that even he was a little afraid. But only slightly. 7. Kills Kendo. Kill. As soon as Chenzin came up, he used the 7 kills sword technique, exerting his attack power to the extreme. Qian Daoliu also used his soul power to condense a lightsaber, and facing Chenzin's terrifying 7 killing sword, he swung it with the same sword. The violent sword wind ravaged the Qibao glazed sect. The hard work of the sect disciples in the past few days was wiped out by this blow. Fortunately, the sect disciples were protected by Gurong, otherwise the aftermath alone would have broken their bodies apart. This battle is no longer something ordinary people can participate in. Bang. With a sound, both of them were knocked back. Qian Daoliu only took 3 steps back, but Chenzin took 7 or 8 steps back. Chenzin seemed to have only a slight advantage, but in fact, he not only used his soul skills, but also received the full support of Ning Fengzi, while Qian Daoliu only fought back hastily. The gap between the two sides was very obvious. After all, level 99 is the pinnacle of humankind, and the higher level is God. Therefore, the distance between level 99 and level 98 is probably greater than the sum total of level 91 to 98. Yes, it can actually make me retreat. When Chen Jianjun fought with me, his first kill word made me step back. He couldn't even raise my clothes and legs until the 9th kill word, which made me pay a little attention, but I just used my soul power to fight back, shattering all his internal organs, and died. Qian Daoliu's words were frightening. Everyone knew that the 99th level extreme Douluo must be very strong, but this was the first time they knew that he was actually so strong. Chenzin, however, said nothing and rushed over again. The 4th soul skill, murderous intent, is revealed. Zin's sword kept swinging out with sword aura. Qian Daoliu just stood there and easily caught all of these continuous attacks that were unstoppable with a condensed lightsaber. Qibao, Yin Yang and Yu Yuanzin seemed to be planning to step forward to help Chenzin. Tianlin hurriedly stopped him and said, "Old monster, Grandpa, Master Jade, don't interfere. It's useless if you go there. Even if it's your snow-colored swan kiss, old monster, it meets the bottomless soul of Qian Daoliu. Even if the force is used, it will not work at all. The only one who can help master here is me." Tianlin stopped them, but he jumped out. "Xiaoshan, you don't want your life." Qian Ringsu immediately became nervous. In the battle between the 98th level Super Douluo and the 99th level Extreme Douluo, could he, a soul saint, intervene? Even if his true combat power reaches the same level as his own, there is still an insurmountable gap compared to Qian Daoliu. Qilong really hoped that the great minister would kill Tianlin directly, because the young master would be in a state of confusion all day long. Oh. The 3rd generation successor of the 7 kills sword technique is also here. In that case, let's go together, master and disciple. If all 3 generations of your lineage die in my hands, it will be considered a good story. Qian Daoliu smiled nonchalantly. Chenzin glanced at his disciple. He didn't say anything to tell him to leave immediately. His disciple was also a swordsman. Since he stood in front of the enemy, there was no reason to retreat without fighting. Ning Fengzi once again released 6 rays of light and gave Tianlin the strongest assistance. "Master, let's go up," Tianlin said. "Okay." The 3 realms are extinct. The master and apprentice joined forces, and the demon sword and the 7 kills sword simultaneously use the 7 kills sword technique to attack Douluo. He still looked calm, but this time, he could not be underestimated. Although he successfully blocked Chen Xin's 7 killing sword, his lightsaber was cut open like tofu. When it met Tianlin's magic sword, Douluo immediately put up a layer of soul protection on his body, but it was still useless, and could not stop the magic sword at all. Just before the magic sword was about to pierce Douluo's body, a ding sound was heard suddenly, and Tianlin and Chen Xin were ejected at the same time. The second soul skill, Angel Protection. It turned out that Douluo used the out-of-body defensive soul skill at the last moment. It's a pity that he moved so fast, otherwise the sword strike just now would have seriously injured him by surprise. Tianlin said in disappointment, "I see real damage. What a sword with a god-level martial spirit." Douluo praised, "Even Bibidang can only do real damage when he uses the move of eternal creation, but this Tianlin, however, played Bibidang's ultimate move passively. It can be seen that his sword theory level is far higher than Bibidang's Spider Emperor. He is also a twin martial soul." Douluo is very curious about what his other martial soul is. It can exist at the same time as such a terrifying sword. Tianlin also uses it as his second martial soul, so it must be strong but not weak. Tianlin, I will give you another chance. As long as you swear by your martial spirit and sincerely join my martial spirit hall, I can let every one of you in the 7 treasures glazed sect go. Douluo really has a love for talents. Tianlin's hope of becoming a god is no less than that of his granddaughter. In the future, if 2 gods appear in Wuhan Palace at the same time, who can stop them from overwhelming the mainland? Moreover, he was going to the god realm. After becoming a god, he could see that there was actually a very strong bond between Tianlin and his granddaughter. In the future, the 2 of them would ascend together and take care of each other in the god realm. Ning Rangrong, apart from her appearance, could not compare to her granddaughter in terms of talent and family status. Hearing this, Mingsu looked at Tianlin hopefully, hoping that he would agree. In this way, the gap between them could be filled in an instant. "Thank you for your kindness, senior. Please forgive me for refusing," Tianlin said decisively. "As for the reason, I don't think I need to explain more. In this world, not everything is measured by power and strength. In this case, I will not be merciful anymore." Douluo was not disappointed, but only had a strong intention to kill. Since Tianlin could not be used by him, there was no other choice except killing. Douluo flew into the air, and he finally released his soul ring. 8 black and 1 red, an extremely terrifying configuration of soul rings. This is also an important reason why Chen Xin is still unable to defeat him, even though he has received so many increases. Soul rings of different ages also have completely different effects on the strength of a soul master. Chapter 290 Tianlin Shinxin vs Douluo. What kind of soul ring configuration is this? The disciples of the Qibao glazed sect looked at the godlike figure in the sky, and they were all horrified. Originally, they thought that Tianlin's second 1000-year soul ring configuration and the fourth 10,000-year soul ring configuration were rare to see in 100 years, but the person in front of them had started with a 10,000-year soul ring. At worst, is strength is not at the same level as this. There's nothing to be afraid of. I won't lose to him when it comes to the age of soul rings, Tianlin said calmly. He also released his own soul rings. Just 2 soul rings that were more than 100,000 years old were already more than 1,000 years old. Tao Liu, especially the 7th soul ring with 4 golden lines. It looks far beyond Douluo's 100,000-year-old soul ring. 4 golden patterns. You really have a soul ring that is more than 400,000 years old, Douluo said solemnly. The strength of the young man in front of him was beyond his expectation. It's too early to be surprised now. Tianlin looked at Chen Xin and said, "Master, Taoism is natural, and you can conquer demons." This was a sentence from the Shushan sword technique. Chenzin realized that Tianlin was reminding him to change his moves and use the Shushan sword technique. Chenzin nodded and flew up with Tianlin, shattering Sky Slash, Zhuo, Divine Sword. The two of them have two swords together. One of them is the unique skill of Shushan Elder's Gang Slash, which is as skillful as clumsy and indestructible. The other is the swordsmanship of Li Zhuo, the leader of Shushan Mountain. His sword moves lightly, and his heart moves at will. The two sword techniques from completely different angles and different types can work together to make up for each other's shortcomings. Douluo found that facing these two moves, he had no means of dodge other than hard resistance. The fifth soul skill, Angel Holy Sword, Douluo, condenses a sacred fire into a long sword. This real soul skill has an attack power far beyond that of the lightsaber condensed with pure soul power. It is extremely powerful and can also increase the purification effect of its own angelic soul power. 300%. If a general soul master is struck by a sword, even if he does not die, a large amount of soul power in his body will be dissolved. HMPH. Chenzin was not afraid at all. The 7 kills sword turned into a giant sword and directly hit the lightsaber over their point. The sky was torn apart by the two swords, and after an explosion, Chenzin was shaken back by the soul power of Douluo. But he did not lose. The Angel Holy Sword was already covered with cracks and finally shattered. There was a trace of surprise on Douluo's originally calm face. Except for Tang Qin and Bo Saixi, no one had ever been able to defeat his soul skill with a single sword. What kind of swordsmanship is this? The power seems to be even more amazing than Tang Chen's Haoshan stunt. Originally, he didn't take the two masters and apprentices seriously. In his heart, the only ones who could be called opponents were the two extreme Douluo. It can only be said that he underestimated Shushan's swordsmanship. This is the sword of Taoism. Let's appreciate it again. Douluo. Tianlin took the opportunity to attack from behind. Douluo's soul skill had just been broken. This was a good opportunity to attack. The characteristic of Zhuo Divine Sword is that it is fast and quick. Refined. If it were another soul master, it would be useless for Douluo to attack, but Tianlin was different. His real damage could ignore the level difference, and Douluo did not dare to be careless. Soul power protection is indeed meaningless in front of this sword, but Douluo said calmly, the 6th soul skill, Angel's Roar. This is an attack carried out by Douluo using the special transformation method of Angel Soul Power, which converts the soul power into spiritual shock in an instant. The person being attacked will experience a strong mental shock. If the opponent's mental power is more than twice as weak as Douluo itself, his soul will be broken directly, and he will die with a headshot. If the difference is less than double, it will be converted into a mental shock, causing mental damage to the opponent. Just such a blow caused Tianlin's spiritual sea to churn. What a powerful mental power. Although it is not as good as when I was in my prime, it is not inferior to me with only my soul left. Tianming Eyes One exclaimed, and it immediately took action to protect Tianlin's body. The Sea of Spirit with its help, as well as the Million-Year Soul Bone and External Soul Bone, Tianlin was not seriously injured, but his head still hurt, and his sword skills also experienced a slight lag. As a result, Douluo caught the floor for a moment, flicked the sword blade with his finger, and flicked the magic sword away. At the same time, he hit Tianlin on the chest with a palm, knocking him out of the air. The knocked Tianlin fell into a house. Above, the entire house was collapsed, and Tianlin's body was completely buried in the rubble. Boss, brother, Jian, Gu, Ran and Ning Rangrang anxiously wanted to run to the rescue, but were stopped by Qinming. There was no room for them to intervene here. Even he, the teacher, could only be a spectator, but looking at his clenched fists, you can see how unwilling he is. The students are facing powerful enemies, but the teachers are unable to help them. Zhuo Kan Ringsu almost couldn't help it, but Shilong held her shoulders down. Shilong shook his head at her. Her grandfather was fighting Tianlin's master and apprentice now, and she couldn't stand on Tianlin's side. Once a soul master reaches level 95 or above, the martial soul will evolve once every level, and the degree of integration with the soul master will be higher. Kai and Douluo seemed to know that Tianlin was not dead and said to the ruins, and I have reached level 99 and my martial soul has already been completely integrated with myself. My soul skills do not need to be lit up and used like ordinary soul masters. It is impossible to defeat me with a moment of time difference. Don't worry about me. Tianlin's voice came from the ruins. With the strong burst of soul power, all the rubble was bounced away, revealing the intact Tianlin point, but what he is holding now is no longer a magic sword, but a holy spirit bead point. At the most dangerous moment just now, he switched his martial spirit in time, and used the soul skill True Essence body protection given by the unearthed spirit beads, to greatly improve his physical defense and immediately open the holy spirit realm. So he only suffered a slight injury point, and this slight injury was quickly recovered due to the self-healing ability of the Blue Silver Emperor's soul bone point. Kai and Douluo looked at the bead and said, "This is your second martial soul. It is indeed very good. It was hit by my angel's roaring mental attacks and a palm containing huge soul power, but it didn't happen at all." Tianlin wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said with a smile, "Yes, senior, you said that you have completely integrated with the martial spirit. I'm sorry, I'm the same, and it is natural. From the day the Holy Spirit bead awakened, it has been one with me." Next, you should take a good look at the power of this martial spirit. The art of summoning gods, the martial god, and the art of summoning the gods, the mountain god. Tianlin used the two most powerful soul skills of the Holy Spirit Pearl in one breath. The gods of the martial gods and mountains all came out. One was wearing armor and holding a Shenwu infernal knife. The other was shirtless and carrying a mountain on his back. They both exuded an extremely terrifying aura. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291, Reversal of Adversity, Change of Fortune. There are actually two monsters that your martial spirit can summon. Kai and Douluo heard from Lingyu and Douluo that Tianlin had the ability to summon a monster stronger than him, but he didn't expect it to be so strong. The two big guys in front of them have undoubtedly reached the level of Super Douluo. In addition to Tianlin himself, he is a soul saint who can actually exert 3 times the power of a title Douluo. Of course, he was overthinking this. Just maintaining these two summoning gods had consumed all of Tianlin's mental and soul power. How could he have any extra energy to fight on his own? But even so, the god of war and the mountain god joining forces is not something that 3 ordinary title Douluo can achieve. Is this Ziotian's current strength? The child back then has completely surpassed me. Kyan Rinksu murmured. Although she has a powerful seraphim spirit, which is enough to defeat ordinary title Douluo in single combat, there is absolutely no way he can win against Super Douluo for the time being. No wonder, young master, you are attracted to him. Looking at ancient and modern times, I'm afraid there has never been such a monster genius. For the first time, Shilong recognized Kyan Rinksu's love acumen. After spending time with such a person day and night, it is not surprising at all to fall in love with him. With such strength, it seems that I have to be more serious. Kai and Douluo finally started to take the initiative to attack. His body turned into a stream of light, so fast that Chenzin and Tianlin could not react at all. But he did not attack them, but rushed straight towards Ningfengzi. It was the right choice to deal with the 9 treasure glazed tower first in the battle. The 8th soul skill, 9 treasures divine light body protection. Ningfengzi immediately activated the self-defense skill. Haha, the 5th soul skill, the holy sword of angels. Kai and Douluo struck the pagoda with his sword. The divine light that could have blocked the title Douluo 6 9th soul skill attacks was actually blocked by Kai and Douluo's sword. It cracked. Ningfengzi was injured by the sword, and blood oozed from the corner of his mouth, but he still insisted on assisting, and the light of the 9 treasure glazed tile tower did not weaken at all. Kai and Douluo said coldly, good defensive power. Although this is only my 5th soul skill, when I use it, the power is several times stronger than the 9th soul skill of ordinary title Douluo. It can block even the most powerful ones. It's okay, but how many times can you block it? The second sword struck again. How could Tianlin and Shenzhen watch him attack Ming Fengzi continuously? A broadsword blocked the way and blocked the second sword. It was the sword of the god of war at the same time. A huge mountain fell from the sky. This was a mountain formed by the mountain god using its energy. If the Qibao glazed sect was targeted, it could crush the entire sect instantly. Tianlin had to control his strength well. After hitting Douluo, he had to take the mountain back in time to avoid hurting your own people. However, this time he was overly worried. Douluo raised his right arm, and the angel holy sword turned into a wave of light and shot towards the sky. The light wave started from the bottom of the mountain and pushed upward. In an instant, he saw this whole huge mountain was completely turned into powder. This kind of attack power is truly breathtaking. Tianlin couldn't help but wonder, shouldn't the Douluo world be a fantasy sewer? How come these Douluo have the power to destroy mountains with just one strike? You must know that a mountain is still inferior to the Poseidon Tridents 1000 and 8000, much heavier. An extreme Douluo can't even lift a trident, but you can destroy a mountain so easily in an instant. Tianlin has obviously forgotten that now he can actually penetrate the mountain with one sword, and Shenzhen once flattened a mountain with one sword. These are purely physical attacks, while Douluo's attacks are more energy based. Although the force may not be stronger, it is definitely more thorough in destroying matter than slashing with a sword. Douluo looked at Tianlin and said, "Jun Tianlin, you are indeed very strong, but to me, whether you can summon one or two such monsters, it doesn't make any sense. It just costs me more effort." The situation was very unfavorable for Ming Fengzi and Tianlin, but Gu Rong wanted to protect the sect, but Du Gubo and Yunyang were completely unable to intervene. They could only clench their fists unwillingly, secretly hating that they were useless, but facing Douluo's pressing step by step, Tianlin did not panic. "Master, it's enough to play here. We should show senior Douluo a little bit." He was beaten by Douluo and was unable to fight back, but he also bought time for Shenzhen. At this moment, Shenzhen's soul power had been increased to the maximum. "Yes, it's time to get serious." Shenzhen nodded. From just now to now, he was far from showing his full strength. Now that he has seen the power of Douluo, he can no longer hold back. The 7th soul skill, the 7 kill true body. My body is like a sword, and the human sword is one. Shenzhen first activated his weapon soul true body, and then used his own self-created soul skills and the 7 killing sword to become 1 point. After the 7 kills domain was opened, he used the Xingso 9 blade to strike at Douluo. Douluo actually sensed the fatal danger from this sword. The ultimate assistance from the 9 treasures, Glazed Pagoda, tripled Shenzhen's attack power. Now, coupled with the weapon soul's true body and the transformed sword, it became 1 point. Shenzhen's current attack power is probably more than 5 times that of the 98th level golden crocodile Douluo, and he used Shushan's unique skill that is not inferior to the great Sumeru hammer. The power of this attack is even far greater than the ultimate Douluo. The number 1 attacking Douluo in the mainland is none other than Shenzhen at this moment. Roar. 2 huge roars came, and the god of war and the god of mountains surrounded Douluo one after another. One slashed with a broadsword, a Shenwu purgatory slash, and the other punched out with an overwhelming punch. Angel. Light wall. Douluo condensed a layer of light wall around him. This is a modified version of the Angel Light Shield. It is a self-created soul skill with stronger defense power, but this time, the simultaneous attacks of Wuhan Mountain God and Shenzhen had reached their maximum strength point, especially Shenzhen's sword, which could pierce through this defensive soul skill with just one sword, leaving Douluo unable to avoid it. The 7th soul skill, the true form of an angel. In desperation, Douluo finally had to activate his own martial soul true form, and at the same time, he also opened up the angelic realm. The person who can force him into this state has not appeared in countless years. As soon as the angel's true form appeared, his combat power increased several times. The huge angel's true form blocked Kisha with bare hands, sword, and pushed back the 7 killing sword with absolute power. It seemed that the 7 treasures glazed sect had no chance of winning, but in fact, this was the moment Tianlin was waiting for. He switched the magic sword in seconds and took the initiative to make the 2 gods disappear, saving his soul power to the maximum extent. The 7th soul skill, the true form of the magic sword. The 3rd soul skill, the wind and water change, demon. Suppression domain, open. After the magic sword restores the god level martial soul, the flow of feng shui is strengthened. As long as the feng shui flow is used, while the weapon soul is in the state of its true body, it can resolve all states below the god level, including the true body of the martial soul. What? The angel's true body dissipated instantly, and the angel realm was also suppressed by the demon suppressing realm. Douluo was caught off guard by Tianlin's method. His strength suddenly decreased, and he was unprepared, and his whole body was directly pierced through the chest by Chen's sword. Grandpa Rinxu was anxious and wanted to rush forward to save Douluo. Don't worry, young master, I will be invincible in the world. Everything will be fine. Shilong hurriedly grabbed her. The battlefield over there was not something Rinxu could participate in right now. Her strength was at most 92 times better than his. The level title Douluo is just one step ahead, and there is no comparison with Tianlin. Chapter 292 Angels Descend vs Soldiers Disband. Chen's transformed from the 7-killing sword into a human form again, still looking at Douluo warily. If it were any other opponent, this move would be enough to scare people away, but the opponent was our ultimate Douluo, so he couldn't be careless at all. Sure enough, although Douluo's chest was pierced, and blood oozed from the corners of his mouth, his breath did not fade at all. At the same time, his 9th soul ring shone brightly. Although he could use the first few soul skills without using the soul ring, it seemed that he was still unable to do the 3 most popular skills of 7, 8, and 9. After becoming a god, it's possible. Haha, even Tang Chen and Bo Seixi didn't hurt me until now. What a Chenxin, what a Jun Tianlin. You master and disciple joined forces, and you actually have such strength. Douluo looked up with a ferocious smile. At first, there was 3 points of joy among the 7 points of anger. Tang Chen has disappeared, and Bo Seixi has been hiding on Poseidon Island. He has been invincible for too long. Even a master like Chen Jianjin cannot make him excited. For a strong man like him, it feels very lonely. The 9th soul skill, Angel Descends. Something similar to a space channel suddenly appeared in the sky. From the other side of the space channel, Tianlin felt incomparable majesty and holiness. Is it the god realm? Tianlin murmured. That's right. It seems that you have indeed started the divine examination, so you can sense the aura of the divine world. My 9th soul skill can connect to the angel temple in the divine realm and obtain the power from the gods. The degree of increase is far beyond martial spirit avatar, and your fortune is changing. You can't break this trick. Douluo looked at Tianlin like he was looking at an ant. At this moment, his divinity has overtaken his humanity. That is to say, he regards all living beings as ants, and he is right. Although the current geomantic current is powerful enough to break the true form of the martial spirit, it cannot eliminate the power of the gods. Grandpa, he finally used this move. Rinxu knew that the matter was irreversible. Douluo who entered this state was no longer as simple as an ultimate Douluo, but a demigod. Douluo once told her that back then, Bo Seixi and Tang Chen had faced him in this state. At that time, Tang Chen relied on constant ring explosions and the magical skill of the great Sumeru hammer to force him break through his divine power. Bo Seixi, on the other hand, also relied on the power of Poseidon to fight against him. She did not have near god power, and was not even qualified to stand in front of Douluo in this state. In fact, Rinxu didn't like Douluo using this trick, because Douluo at this time was completely unlike her amiable grandfather, and more like a noble god. Chen Xin, that blow you just made was really good. In order to reward you, you will let me save your life until the end. Now, let's witness the rest of your sect die one by one. Douluo stretched out his palm. Condensed with light energy, angel judgment, a terrifying light emitted from his palm. If this move fell on Qibao mountain, it would kill everyone, except Chenxin. At this time, Douluo had reached a completely different level. Chenxin wanted to step forward to save people, but Douluo waved his hand and knocked him back with his divine power. since he said that he would let Chenzin watch his important people die, he would not break his promise. The 9 treasure divine light body protection alone could no longer block this move. Durang rushed to Tianlin and Ning Fengzi without hesitation. The 9th soul skill, Bone the Dragon, as the strongest defense, he has the determination to turn the sky into pieces. The 7th soul skill, the true form of the Jade Scale Snake King. The 7th soul skill, Thunder Eagle True Body. The 7th soul skill, the true form of the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex. At this moment, the other 3 titled Douluo present could no longer resist taking action. No matter how inferior they were to Douluo, they were still strong men in the world. It was better to resist than to close their eyes and wait to die. Boom. The intense holy light bombarded the sect, but it did not explode. They gathered the power of the 4 titled Douluo and forcibly directed the power into the sky, but this also caused serious injuries to the 4 people. Seeing this, Douluo, who had become cold and ruthless at this time, was a little dissatisfied. These ants were too resistant, and he was already a little impatient. Why couldn't he just die obediently? Just when he was about to take action again, suddenly, a huge sense of crisis came. Douluo's pupils shrank, and there was another fatal threat. He had already entered his strongest state. Why could Chenzin still give him such a thing? It feels like he has some other trump cards. Douluo, I won't let you be rampant anymore. The angry Chenzin's sword intent began to rise. No, we can't say it was rising now, but it was soaring. At the same time, a huge sword-shaped barrier spread from his feet until it covered the entire Qibao mountain. What is this move? Tianlin was surprised. Where did the master learn this move? No, I have to stop him. After using Bingji, regardless of victory or defeat, Chenzin's final result will be death. Don't worry, Xiaoshan. Ning Fengzi, who had been protected by everyone just now, used all his remaining soul power to light up his 9th soul ring. The 9th soul skill, Immortality. The 9 treasure glazed pagoda emits immortal light to shine on Xiang Chengxin, which makes Tianlin suddenly realize that it is no wonder that the master can use the military solution so decisively. As long as Douluo is defeated before the end of the immortal body, there will be no problem. This battle is no longer something that mortals can participate in, because Chenzin, who has entered the state of military dissolution, has received a greater increase than Douluo's angel god's descent. After all, this is a stunt that burns life and can only be used once in a lifetime. At this moment, he is also a demigod. The stronger he is, the one who will break through the upper limit of the immortal body. Moreover, he does not rely on the power of the divine world. He reaches the state by himself. In terms of control of power, he is absolutely above Douluo. Such a strong power. Sword Douluo Chengxin, have you reached this point? Before you know it, Douluo's eyes flashed with admiration. Under this sword energy, he seemed to have regained a bit of humanity and spoke. He said, the sword energy is indeed very strong, but with our continuous battles, Qibao Mountain is already in danger. Now if you add another sword, aren't you afraid of destroying your sect? The sword is the blade of the heart. It can be used to kill or protect. Killing and protecting are just a matter of a thought. Chenzin said firmly. He was confident that he would only kill Douluo without harming any family members. This is a sword technique wielded for the purpose of protection, and it is also Uncle Z's lifelong understanding of swords. High realm, in that case, I will use my strongest trick to give you a ride. The 9th soul skill, Angel's Judgment. Douluo's 9th soul ring is a 100,000-year soul ring, with 2 soul skills. One is a state-like soul skill descended by an angel, and the other is the attack soul skill Angel's Judgment, which has the power to destroy the heaven and the earth. With the next sword, I will definitely defeat you, and make up for my father's regret back then. The 9th soul skill is to kill both gods and demons. Chenzin also attacked with all his strength. This blow will completely determine the outcome. Chapter 293 Extreme Douluo Sword Douluo Chengxin. In Wuhan Hall, Pope Bibidang was holding a scepter in his hand, standing on the balcony on the top floor of the Pope's hall, frowning tightly as he looked into the distance. In that direction, is it Qibao Mountain? I feel the power of 2 infinitely close gods. above me who can't use my full strength now. Bibidong was sure that one of them was Douluo, but she didn't know that the other one was actually hiding such a terrifying person in the Qibao glazed sect. It seems that she has underestimated the world's heroes in the past. The Qibao glazed sect has been able to stand on the mainland for so many years, and its strength is indeed extraordinary. She turned back to her room and opened the secret passage in the room, which led to the secret realm of Rakshasa. She must practice as soon as possible and become a god as soon as possible to ensure that she has enough strength to suppress the mainland. At this time, in the secret realm of Rakshasa, there is a ghost-like figure. He is not mysterious on the surface like the ghostly martial spirit, but in fact it is not difficult to deal with as long as he grabs the body, but a real one. Intangible and shadowless, even the figure and appearance cannot be seen clearly. I underestimated Ning Fengxi and Kendao Chengxin. They first repelled the soul hunting operation, and then destroyed the secret hand avalanche I left in the Xiandao Empire. I didn't expect that now they can compete with the great worshippers. Black Shadow said solemnly. It seems that we have to think of other ways. At this moment, he heard a sound of footsteps and knew that Bibidong was back, so he immediately disappeared. With Bibidong's ability, he didn't notice him at all. Sure enough, as Ning Fengxi guessed, in addition to Douluo and Bibidong, there is a third force in Wuhan Palace. The sky in Qibao Mountain was already changing at this time. The golden light that is sacred and contains heat as high as the sun and the indestructible dark blue sword energy are colliding with each other. Even the aftermath of two strong men who have reached the level of demigods is not something ordinary people can bear. Any mountains, rivers, vegetation, or trees that were swept away by the diffuse golden light or the radiating sword energy were all turned into nothingness. Surprisingly, there was nothing at all within the seven treasure glazed sect. This is Chenzin's current swordsmanship, which can be used to kill or protect. As long as it is the person he wants to protect, even gods cannot hurt him in the slightest. The battle has reached this point. Even Tianlin can't participate in it. He just uses all the remaining soul power to maintain the wind and water flow formation. Now the two sides are evenly matched, but once Douluo fires his true martial spirit again. After all, Chenzin, who is only level 98, is definitely no match for him. Although the 7-killing sword is a top level martial spirit, it is still far inferior to the god level martial spirit Seraph. Haha, Chenzin, you just said you wanted to make up for your father's regrets back then. Right? I'm telling you now, your rhetoric is really ridiculous. It's true that your strength has surpassed your father's, but I think come out, at least in the heart of the sword, you are far inferior to him. Douluo said mockingly. The battle between Chenjin and me back then was not as fierce as it is today. His defeat was very complete, but he also lost very openly, and he used all his strength to fight me in an honest and fair manner. But now, you have relied on the power of your apprentice and Ning Fengxi to get a lot of boosts, restricted my martial soul avatar, and activated life burning skills, so you can barely be on par with me. I have seen his consciousness, but the sword's heart has become anything but pure. Can you still be called a swordsman now, Kan? Douluo's rhetorical question immediately plunged Chenzin into confusion. His biggest wish in life was to defeat Douluo with his own sword and make up for his father's regrets back then. But in the current situation, he was simply cheating. Even if he wins, he will completely lose the dignity of the swordsman. The heart of the sword wavered, and the intention of the sword naturally weakened. The pressure of the sword slashing the gods and demons began to be slowly pushed back by Douluo. Everyone in the sect heard Douluo's words, and they had to admit that indeed, even if Chenzin could win like this, it would still be a weak victory. That's not the case. At this moment, Ning Rangrang suddenly rushed forward and shouted loudly, Grandpa Jian has always been the person I admire the most. If my father and brother Jian were the ones who loved and protected me when I grew up, Grandpa Jian is the god who protects me. Ever since I was little, there is no place where I feel safer than behind Grandpa Jian, because I know that, in order to protect me, his sword will not be lost to anyone. Rangrang. Chenzin turned around and saw Ning Rangrang, who always had 100% trust and admiration for her, and whom she loved like her own granddaughter, as well as her close friends Gu Rong and Ning Fengxi, who looked encouraging. and his disciple Tianlin, who risked his life to protect him. His eyes were no longer confused. Qibao. Douluo, maybe you are right. My sword heart is no longer pure, but I have already found something more important than the dignity of the swordsman. My sword is not ruthless and there is nothing else besides the sword. The way is to move forward with a heavy load and cut the path to the future for my family and friends. Today, I will win without a doubt. In an instant, Chenzin's power suddenly grew stronger, and the appearance of the 7-killed sword even began to change. Golden stripes appeared on the blade. It seemed that this was because Chenzin had reached the demigod level in this state. The powerful power caused the evolution of martial souls. The 7-killing divine sword grew larger and larger until it covered the sky and the Sunday Qibao. Douluo, I will accept your soul. As Chenzin roared, the power of the 2 slashes of gods and demons finally broke through the limit point. The sword's intention reaches the 9 heavens, cuts through the clouds thousands of miles away, and the sword's energy pours over the world, causing waves in the 4 seas. The golden light of Qibao Douluo was completely torn apart. As its name suggests, this sword can kill any god or demon, as long as it stands in front of Chenzin Point. After a long time, the huge fluctuations in the sky finally began to dissipate. Everyone only heard a plop and someone fell down. They were eager to see who it was. Grandfather, Qibao. Rinxu's anxious voice proved the identity of the loser. The supreme powerhouse who was invincible in the world and had suppressed the mainland for nearly 100 years was finally defeated today at the hands of Sword Douluo Chenzin. Ugh. Qibao Douluo spat out a large mouthful of blood. On his chest, there was a sword mark that was as deep as the bone. All his internal organs were injured by the sword energy, and his whole body's soul power was also consumed by the sword energy. In this battle, he was extremely defeated thorough. We win. Master wins. Tianlin lost his composure and cheered loudly. Chenzin's victory today is of great significance. After today, the Qibao Glazed sect will usher in a long period of peace. Ning Fengzi has also lost his usual wisdom. He has always been afraid of Wuhan Palace since he became the sect leader. It is because of the existence of Qibao Douluo that he is someone they can never afford to offend. But today, this huge mountain was cut open by Chenzin Point. Chenzin had just released his troops. Upon seeing this, Ning Fengzi also withdrew his immortal body and other assistants. The overall situation was decided. Qibao Rinxu and Snakespear Douluo alone could not make any big waves. The crisis was over. Yes, they don't have to be so cautious anymore. But when Ning Fengzi withdrew all the assistants, they discovered that the aura emitted by Chenzin at this time was only stronger than when he had assistants in his previous heyday. Especially the soul power, like a thermometer measuring a person with a high fever, is rising straight up. Chenzin opened his sword eyes and said to Qibao Douluo, I won this battle. I should thank my senior for helping me cross this last step. Now, I'm a 99th level ultimate Douluo. Sword Douluo Chengxin. Chapter 294. The gods arrive. Sword God. Old swordman, with the opportunity of defeating Qibao Douluo, he had an epiphany and actually passed the last step. Gu Rong said with both sadness and joy. He was really happy for his old brother, but when he thought about the growing gap between him and him, he felt sour in his heart. Haha, we are both ultimate Douluo, and you also relied on the weapon soul's true body, life burning skills, and the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda to assist me. It seems that I did not lose unfairly. Take this life and avenge your father. Qibao Douluo admitted defeat, but there was still a trace of ridicule in his words. Without it, Chenzin would not be his opponent, even if he broke through. After all, there was an absolute gap in the quality of soul rings, soul bones, and martial souls, angels. True form. Qibao Rinxu suddenly shouted. She turned on her martial soul true form and rushed towards Chenzin. Her favorite relative was her grandfather, even more than the entire spirit hall and Tianlin. It was impossible to watch his grandfather being killed by Chenzin. Chenzin glanced at her and raised the 7-killing sword. With his attack power, after reaching the limit, he could split Qibao Rinxu in half with one sword. The first soul skill, Ning Hangsu. At this time, Tianlin quickly took action and created an ice wall to separate Qibao Rinxu from Chenzin. At the same time, He flew forward and blocked Qian Rinxu's lightsaber with his magic sword point. Although he has consumed a lot of energy and is no longer a match for Qian Rinxu, it is not something she can break through in a short while. Xiaoshan, get out of the way. I want to save my grandfather. Otherwise I won't show mercy to you. Qian Rinxu said sternly. Calm down. My master has no intention of killing your grandfather. Tianlin could actually feel that Chen Xin no longer had any murderous intent at this time. Chen Xin walked up to Qian Douluo and injected a pure soul power into his body. He was actually helping Qian Douluo heal and even gave him a little bit of soul power. Based on this bit of soul power, coupled with the terrifying recovery ability of the angel spirit, Qian Douluo could slowly stand up. Seeing this, Qian Rinxu also regained her composure and rushed to help her grandfather, while she long looked at them warily with a snake spear. Chen Xin, what do you mean by this? Do you want to capture me alive, like you did to Jin Crocodile? I will never accept this insult. You should kill me and avenge your father. Qian Douluo finished speaking, and then he looked at Tianlin and said, Jun Tianlin, I can see that you were saving Zua just now. Thank you. Considering the friendship between you and Zua in the past, I only hope that you can let her live today. Otherwise, even though I'm defeated today, I can still let your entire Qibao glazed sect be buried with me. Angels. Edict. This is the last killing move I left behind. It will detonate all the divine power given to me by the angel god. The power that bursts out in that moment will destroy the world, but I don't want to use this move. Once I use it, it will not only be you. This Qibao mountain and Xiandao city not far away will also be destroyed. As the spokesperson of the angels, I don't want to cause such a murder, not to mention that Zua is here now. But if you are determined to kill Zua, then I can't care so much anymore. Chen Xin shook his head. Qian Douluo, I don't intend to kill any of you. In fact, my father doesn't hate you either. He has been marching towards the highest point of Soul Master all his life, and he will fight you justly. Even if he lost, he still got what he wanted. At least he died with a smile on his teeth. But you are right about one thing. If I want to avenge my father, I should only rely on my swordsmanship to defeat you without any external force. Only then can I comfort my father's soul in heaven. I'm fighting today just to protect my family. Now I have already. If we do that, we will definitely have another battle, and then it will be for nothing but my sword. Chen Xin raised the 7-killing sword. I, Chen Xin, swear by my lifelong swordsmanship that I will regain the dignity of a swordsman from now on. I will defeat you Qian Douluo purely with my swordsmanship without resorting to external force, and rebuild my sword heart. Although Chen Xin's oath was not a martial spirit oath, it seemed to be more resolute than an ordinary martial spirit oath. As soon as he took the oath, a huge pressure suddenly came from the sky. Even if it was as strong as Qian Douluo, the dusty heart is completely unable to move. A ray of golden light fell from the sky and shrouded Chen Xin directly. This is the breath of the gods. Qian Douluo was horrified. Having dealt with angel gods all year round, how could he not feel that this light contained infinite divine power, which was probably only slightly inferior to the angel gods? Chen Xin has now entered a mysterious space. If Tianlin were here, he would definitely find that this place is very similar to the space where he took the Shura divine examination. Chen Xin looked forward. In front of him was a man in blue with long black hair, holding a silver white sword in his hand. There seemed to be a dragon wrapped around the sword. What surprised Chen Xin the most was that this man had 5 rings of light on his body. He had heard from Tianlin, who had passed the divine examination, that gods were also divided into levels. 9 rings of light represented the king of gods, such as him. The inherited Shura god, the 7-ringed Nimbus, is a first-level god, such as the god of angels and the god of the sea, while the 5-ringed one is the symbol of a second-level god. In other words, the man in front of him is a second-level god from the god realm. The man pointed the long sword at Chen Xin and said, the name of this sword is King Ju. King Ju. I once heard from my father that if the mountains break and tin comes out, and the water dries up, and copper comes out, that would be a wonder in the world. If the sky thunder strikes the iron and the rainmaker pours water, it will be an eternal wonder. If the dragon holding the furnace and exhausting all the manpower, that would be the birth of King Ju. Chen described, this sword once appeared in ancient times. It was the martial spirit of a soul master. Later, this soul master broke through the divine world with his sword. Xianman, the self-created god, has exceeded level 100. Could he be the senior? It's me. I'm a god under the throne of Shura god and a god of swords. I have been immersed in the art of swords all my life, so my accumulation of divine power has only reached the level of a second level god. However, my sword is not as strong as Poseidon. Even the most powerful among the first level gods dare not take a direct challenge. The man said, the true way of swordsmanship refers to the collapse of the sky and the cracking of the earth. Even gods of the same level have different levels of strength. Among the second level gods, there are several extremely special beings, such as the god of sword, god of war, and phoenix god. They are just not as strong as the first level gods in terms of divine power, but their real combat power is, but he is no worse than them, especially the sword god, whose attack power is so strong that he can be called the number one person under the throne of Shura god. It is clear from the gods. Does it exist with one heart? Chen closed his eyes and seemed to have some insights. The words of the sword god made him take another step forward in the path of swordsmanship. The sword god nodded with satisfaction. Breaking through the 99th level with swordsmanship and reaching the pinnacle of human soul masters is a basic requirement to obtain the inheritance of my sword god. No one has achieved it for thousands of years. The last one I paid attention to was your father Chen Jianjun. It's a pity that he has only reached level 97 in this life. Chen, your talent is actually on par with your father's, but you have a better opportunity than him. Now answer me, are you willing to accept my assessment and inherit my divine status? Chen Xin smiled slightly and raised the 7-killing sword in his hand. The tip of the sword pointed at the sword god's Kingju sword. I accepted the sword god's assessment. Since I'm a god under the throne of Shura god, it's just right. When I reach the god realm, I can continue overcome thorns and thorns for my disciple. Chen Xin's sword is a sword of love, and this will never change. What he wants to inherit is just the status of the sword god, but the path of swordsmanship is still his own. Chapter 295 Negotiation Conditions for Exchange of Hostages. Chen Xin and the sword god chatted for a few minutes in that mysterious space, but the time in the outside world actually only passed less than 3 seconds. When Chen Xin opened his eyes, his forehead was already the same as Tianlin's. A sword seal appeared. Chen Xin, could it be possible that you Liu Daheo, as a great worshipper of the angel god, no one knows what this means better than him. It's exactly what you thought. I have accepted the divine examination. Chen Xin did not hide anything. After all, the scene just happened in front of Liu, so it must not be hidden from him. And because of this divine test, he cannot kill Liu today. Because this sword god test is extremely special, there is only one test, and the content of the test is the sword oath he swore. Without the help of other external forces, he can use his own swordsmanship to defeat Liu in his heyday openly. Within the time limit, before Liu sacrifices himself to help become the new angel god. If he cannot do it, it will be regarded as a failure in the assessment. Of course, it is impossible for Chen Xin to tell Liu this content, otherwise it would be bad if this guy speeds up the inheritance of the angel god in order to prevent him from becoming a god. Heritage from the gods. Grandpa Jian, you are really amazing. Ning Rangrang excitedly ran to Chen Xin, shaking his arm and coquettishly. Chen Xin stroked her hair lovingly. It was precisely because of this granddaughter that he was able to find his way to the sword at the last moment, defeat Liu and break through level 99, and was appreciated by the gods. Master, congratulations. Uncle Jian, congratulations. Alas, old swordsman, it seems that I will never be able to catch up with you in this life. Tianlin and Ning Fengzi came forward to congratulate them, while Gu Rong was 9% happy and 1% envious. Tianlin was the most delighted. He had always been worried about one thing, that is, after he became a god, he could only take 2 family members to the god realm. His first choice must be his parents. If he can help Ning Rangrang become the god of Poseidon and Mahanjan become the god of fire, he can only bring 4 more. Moreover, Tianlin cannot force Mahanjan to take anyone with him. Needless to say, one of the people he wants to bring is his mentor Fu and the other, maybe his future love. This is his freedom point. But what to do with people like Ning Fengzi, Chen Xin, Gu Rong, Yin Yang, Du Gubo, and Gu Ran? Tianlin cannot give up on them, so he needs more gods, preferably first level gods, who can lead people ascension, or to help them become gods themselves. Even if it is not a second level god, but a third level god, it doesn't matter after all. Tianlin knew that most of these people were not as talented as the Shrek 7 monsters in the original book, and they might not be able to get the active favor of the gods now. That Chen Xin has inherited the divine status, Tianlin felt a stone fall from his heart, and was naturally overjoyed. Humph, congratulations to you, Kendo Chengxin, Qiandao Liu said with a hint of jealousy in his tone. He became a great worshipper of the angel god. With the help of the power of the gods, he reached the pinnacle of the human world, the 19th level of extreme Douluo. However, the price he paid was that he would never become a god point. If he had the qualifications to become a god, he would definitely have a good fight with Tang Chen about Bosexi, Senior. Qiandao Liu, now you can calm down and negotiate terms with us. Ning Fengzi stepped forward and said, even though the outcome was decided and they were the winners, he still showed great respect to Qiandao Liu. Respect, it can be said that it gave him enough face point. Qiandao Liu was not a fool. Since Chen Xin defeated him, but didn't kill him, it must be Ning Fengzi who wanted to get something from him. He nodded and said, tell me, what do you want? Looking at the world, I don't have many. Qiandao Liu. What Dao Liu can't get, as long as you put in the second offering, and the seventh offering, you can talk about anything. Okay, two conditions for two people. The first condition is that I want you to swear in the name of the angel god you serve. From now on, no matter when and where you are in the worship hall, you will never take the initiative to attack our 7 treasures glazed sect. Take action. Ning Fengzi said point anyway. As soon as Jin Crocodile and Jiang Amo arrived at the Qibao glazed sect, they were beaten up by the 2 masters and disciples of Chen Xin Tianlin. Not a single disciple of the sect was killed, so there was not much hatred, so they could not be let go, as long as the benefits were sufficient. It's very simple. Listen. Qiandao Liu made the oath of God without hesitation. In fact, he didn't intend to let anyone come to die anymore. After Chen Xin broke through the 99th level, the Qibao glazed sect is now his strength is barely enough to compete with Wuhan Palace. At least he can protect himself, not to mention Zhang Tianlin, whose strength is increasing day by day. It will only be a matter of time before he surpasses him. Now his idea is to take his granddaughter back, to take the angel divine examination quickly, so that he can catch up with the Qibao glazed sect. But there was one thing that puzzled him. If it was such a condition, it would actually be faster to kill him and Golden Crocodile Douluo directly. As long as he was gone and Golden Crocodile was gone, the enshrinement hall would be of great help to today's 7 treasures glazed sect. It is not a force that is too difficult to deal with. Seeing his confusion, Ning Fengzi revealed the reason, which was the 4-winged fallen angel that appeared a few days ago. Fallen angel. Ning Fengzi, you are saying that there is a fallen angel hidden in my spirit hall? Qiandao Liu was immediately furious after hearing this. The fallen angel is completely the opposite of his angel lineage. As a mortal enemy, he is actually hiding in his. It's a bit too arrogant to stir up trouble and reign right under your nose. At the same time, he also understood that Ning Fengzi did not kill him because he hoped to use his power to unearth the third-party force hidden in Wuhan Palace. After all, they belong to different forces. No matter how strong the Qibao glazed sect is, it cannot control the Wuhan Palace. And that third-party force is obviously hostile to the Qibao glazed sect. It is hidden in the dark and very powerful. It will definitely make Ning Feng have trouble sleeping and eating. Anyone in Wuhan Palace could collude with the fallen angel, but he, Qiandao Liu, could not. As long as he promised not to deal with the Qibao glazed sect again, then the enemies of his enemies were friends and could be used. Okay, Ning Fengzi, give me that thing, and I will definitely find out the truth, and I will repay Chen Xin for showing mercy just now. Qiandao Liu promised. Now, tell me your second condition. Thank you, Senior. Since you have agreed to the first condition, I will return the 7th offering to you first. Ning Fengzi looked at Tianlin. Tianlin understood and took out 2 huge black crystals from the soul guide point, and these 2 crystals, one figure can be vaguely seen each. They are the 2 souls enshrined in the spirit hall who were sealed by Tianlin with a dark gold seal after their soul power was blocked by Chenzin's sword energy point. Tianlin took back the seal of Jiangmo Douluo, and the crystal seemed to be melted, revealing Jiangmo's figure. Shilong quickly stepped forward to support Jiangmo and checked it, and nodded to Douluo, indicating that it was nothing serious. Tianlin's sword energy came from the same lineage as Chenzin. He had just unblocked the soul power blockade of Demon Conquering Douluo. With the strength of Demon Conquering Douluo, he would probably wake up soon and be more energetic than anyone else. Point at this time, Ning Fengzi continued, my second condition is that I have heard for a long time that there is a set of soul bones that have been passed down for thousands of years in the enshrinement hall, the 6 angel soul bones. Each one is 99,999 years old. I'm very, if you are interested, as long as Senior Douluo takes out any of them, he can take Golden Crocodile Douluo away. This is impossible. Douluo refused without hesitation. To him, these 6 soul bones are even more precious than the 600,000 year soul bones, because they are the angel's divine costume and the key to becoming a god. Ning Fengzi was opening his mouth to the lion. He wanted to control the divine inheritance of their Wuhan palace and cut off the roots of his family. Even if he sacrificed the golden crocodile today, he would not agree. Chapter 296, Killing the Golden Crocodile in Face. Senior Douluo, don't be anxious. I know this object is the key to your spirit hall inheritance. At worst, I promise that, if the successor of the angel god appears in the future, how about we return it when she reaches the 9th test? Tianlin's words proved Douluo's conjecture. Point the Qibao Glazed sect really wanted to control the divine test in his enshrinement hall. Jung. Tianlin, Ning Fengzi, this is absolutely impossible, but I can exchange it for something else. How about 100,000 year soul bone? I promise to bring 100,000 year soul bone for your sect in exchange for. Douluo still wanted to bargain. Point at this time, Tianlin's expression changed. Humph, since the senior has no sincerity, then the request to exchange hostages should be given up. A mere piece of 100,000 year old soul bone cannot compare to the life of Golden Crocodile Douluo. Besides, he is 100,000 years old and has 6 soul bones in his body. If I kill him directly, I won't make more money than you said. After saying that, Tianlin directly unlocked the dark gold seal, then summoned the demonic Sword Douluo. Try to die once, Senior Golden Crocodile, and then pierced Golden Crocodile Douluo's heart. Grandpa. Golden Crocodile. Rinxu shouted sternly. She didn't expect that Tianlin could be so cruel and ruthless. For the first time, she looked at Tianlin with hateful eyes. Why? We can talk again if conditions permit. Why are you so cruel, vicious? Rinxu, when you said this, you seemed to have forgotten something. The Golden Crocodile came to destroy my entire sect. I think you were also involved in the soul hunting plan. When you gave the order, there was no have you ever thought about the word vicious? Tianlin mocked, and after saying that, he picked up the Golden Crocodile's body with his magic sword and threw it back. Duran, take a good look at this old guy's body and turn around to remove all his soul bones. Now, I'll have you with me then. Hearing Tianlin's words, Rinxu was speechless. Yes, what she wanted to do at the beginning was to destroy his entire sect. Now he at least paid back a demon conquering Douluo and spared Douluo's life. She has already exhausted all her benevolence and righteousness, so what right does she have to ask? Duran was about to take action when a figure was faster than him. It was Uoluomayan of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus family. He checked the Golden Crocodile's body and his heart stopped beating. Just when no one noticed, a black light also emitted from the palm of his hand. It was this black light that made him sure that the Golden Crocodile was really dead, and then a look of greed appeared on his face. Second. Brother, what are you doing? Yuansen asked. Brother, you have just done your best for the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. As a matter of fact, this Golden Crocodile Douluo should have a soul bone from our Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus family. He is full of high-level soul bones. Soul bones. Yu Luo Mian smiled and looked at Ning Fengzi, sect master Ning. Do you think I'm right? This golden crocodile Douluo has 6 soul bones, so we don't want more. 2 are enough. That makes sense. Ning Fengzi nodded. How about I take out the 2 arm bones of golden crocodile Douluo and give them to you later, after receiving Ning Fengzi's promise. Yu Luo Mian was overjoyed, but Yu Yuanzhen was furious. Nonsense. Second brother, come back. The Qibao Glazed sect has a great benevolence to our clan that will last forever, and if they hadn't been defeated one after another with the 3 worshippers from the Wuhan Palace, my Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus family has no way of surviving. I don't want even a single piece of these soul bones, brother. Hearing this, Yu Luo Mian looked at Yu Yuanzhen angrily, wanting to say something but Yu Yuanzhen didn't want to give him another chance to speak, and said directly, I have made up my mind, no need to say more. Sect Master Ning, I'm not strict with you. This soul bone, your sect, please do what you want. Yes, second grandpa, Xiaoshan and his family have given us enough favors. How can we still have the nerve to take their soul bones? Please stop thinking like this. Yu Xianheng nodded. His character is the same as that of Yu Yuanzhen, with clear grievances. He already owes enough to the Qibao Glazed sect, and he has no shame in taking anything more. In that case, I will be disrespectful. Ning Fengzi ordered. Guran, carry the body under the golden crocodile crown in. Yes, sect master. Guran responded, picked up the golden crocodile, and walked towards the main hall. Kan Ringsu and Shilong both looked ugly. The 7 treasures Glazed sect and the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family actually divided the soul bones of the golden crocodile like this. They couldn't even get the body back because in order to remove the soul bone, that part must be destroyed first, and the golden crocodile is destined to die without a complete body. Only Kan Daoliu always seemed to feel that something was wrong, but he remained calm. On the surface, he still acted very angry, and said to Tianlin, okay, the young man is ruthless and cruel enough. He is indeed worthy of being a murderer. Everyone who has come out, let's say goodbye today. Don't worry, I will do what I promised. From now on, the Enshrinement Hall will no longer take the initiative to attack the Qibao Glazed sect, but I will definitely recover the debt of the golden crocodile. Come on, Jun Tianlin, you have to be careful, and don't try to die for once. After that, he took Kan Ringsu and Shilong Jiangmo and turned around to leave. Although he was seriously injured now, no one could stop him, and Jiangmo had gradually woken up. With this super Douluo here, in addition, Shilong and Kan Ringsu both have strength equivalent to the title level, so they will not encounter any danger. Haha, just an old fox. Ning Fengzi and Tianlin secretly thought that Kan Daoliu's last words meant that he roughly guessed their intentions. Sure enough, he could become a great worshipper, and he would not be a reckless man with only strength. Sect Master Ning, we are going back to the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family is just like you. It has been seriously damaged and needs to be rebuilt. So we are leaving. Yu Yuanzhen originally wanted to stay for a few more days, but Yu Luo Mian just made such a fuss. He can't stay any longer. Who knows if this guy will do anything else. His second brother's cultivation aptitude is not very good. He is only a few years younger than him, but now he only has 79th level soul power. He can't even reach Contrap, and he is almost surpassed by his daughter Liu Erlang. But this guy always has a lofty ambition, and is greedy and lustful. If he hadn't used his younger brother's identity, he might not have been able to become a sect elder at this time. Yu Luo Mian still had a straight face, and seemed to be unwilling. He didn't understand. With such a good opportunity, he could get 2 very old soul bones at once. Why wouldn't Yu Yuanzhen not want it? As long as one of them is given to him, he will definitely be able to break through level 80. In fact, he no longer has any affection for this brother, and now he only has jealousy and resentment. In that case, I will send him off not far away. The Qibao Glazed sect welcomes the Jade Clan chief to visit at any time. Ning Fengzi said with a smile. Xiaoshan, Qianheng and I are leaving too. Remember to take good care of your injuries. Don't compete with others during this period. Du Guan brought Yu Xianheng to Tianlin and kept warning. She regards Tianlin as her biological brother, and such a dangerous battle just now made her heart lift into her throat. Don't worry, Sister Yanzi, I promise not to fight again until the injury is healed. Tianlin promised immediately and pulled Ning Rangrang over. Just let your sister-in-law look at me. If I fight again, I will let her look at you. Complain. Well, Sister Yanzi, don't worry, I will definitely take a good look at Brother Jian. If he fights again, I will ignore him for 3 days. Ning Rangrang said vowedly. Dugu Yan smiled helplessly when he heard this. That's it? Xiaoshan, Yu Rangrang listens to you in all matters big and small, so what's the use of her looking at you? She pulled Ning Rangrang and said a bunch of words, basically saying that as a wife, sometimes you have to be tougher on your husband. After all, it is better to have someone watching than no one. Let's treat a dead horse as a live doctor. In addition, Tianlin also quietly pulled Yu Xianheng over and stuffed a note into his hand with a serious expression. The two had been brothers for many years. Yu Xianheng immediately realized that Tianlin had something to tell him, but it cannot be publicized. He nodded to Tianlin calmly, clenching his fists to completely hide the note. After bidding farewell to the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus family, Tianlin, Ning Fengzi and others walked back to the main hall. The Golden Crocodile Crown must have had enough sleep. Chapter 297 Immortal Tribulation. Douluo and his party had already left the Qibao Glazed sect. Not long after they left, demon-conquering Douluo woke up. The first thing he did when he woke up was to kill and return to the Qibao Glazed sect to avenge the two worshippers he was just sealed. But he actually knew everything about the situation in the outside world. The status of the Great Enshrinement Douluo in the Wuhan Hall is too high. Even if they are both enshrined, Jiang Mo has only respect for him. When Jiang Mo was young, it was a second enshrinement Golden Crocodile who had been guiding him and his brother Qianjin Douluo in their cultivation. To him, Golden Crocodile Douluo was like a master and a father. Qian Rinxu's expression was also very miserable. She originally thought that after Qian Douluo promised not to attack the Qibao Glazed sect, she and Tianlin would at least no longer have to be enemies. But now, her grandfather Jin Crocodile is dead in the sky. In Lin's hands, they became unrelenting enemies again. Qian Douluo looked at the impulsive Jiang Mo and the sad Qian Rinxu. He first pressed down on Jiang Mo Douluo's shoulders and sighed. Jiang Mo, Zua, don't get excited. If my guess is correct, Jin the crocodile is not dead. What? Both of them turned to look at him. One changed from anger to surprise, and the other's sadness turned into surprise. There are two important reasons for Qian Douluo to make this judgment. The first is what Tianlin said. What is meant by letting Golden Crocodile die once? How can a person die twice? The second is the second condition he put forward. As the inheritor of the gods, it is impossible for him not to know the importance of the gods. Putting this request means that he has never thought about asking himself to agree, but just needs to use it as a basis. As an excuse, he killed the Golden Crocodile in front of him. But what good would that do him? If he wanted to kill him, he would kill him early. Why should he perform this act in front of him and deepen his hatred for no reason? And since he was going to kill the Golden Crocodile to offend himself, why would he surrender the demon and help the enemy? If his guess was correct, the Qibao Glazed sect would probably find another opportunity to get in touch with him. Senior, please stay. A voice came from the horizon, accompanied by bursts of thunder. Qian Douluo said with a smile. Haha, it seems that Ning Fengzi is more anxious than I thought. The person who came was none other than Thunder Eagle Douluo Yunyang. Qian Douluo was seriously injured, and the demon-conquering Douluo had just fallen unconscious again. Therefore, their pace was not fast. With the speed of Yunyangmin's attack type titled Douluo, he could catch up with them very quickly. At this time, Tianlin followed Shinzan into the Qibao Hall. Qian Douluo was right. The Golden Crocodile was still alive and Tianlin did not kill him. All of this was staged for others to see. It was true. He said that he performed it for Luomian, so that he could repay his master in this way. The breath of Luomian was sensed by the Holy Spirit bead, which was somewhat similar to the previous Zubeng. The difference was that Brother Xianmeng deduced that he was not controlled like Zubeng, which meant that he surrendered voluntarily. The 5 spirits pure evil, it won't be of much use to him. Tianlin once thought about catching him and torture him, but after thinking about it, he gave up. As soon as he came, he arrested the elder of the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family without any evidence. Was he going to start a war with them? Secondly, Douluo Mian is no more than a mere soul saint, and Tianlin doesn't think he can get in touch with a boss level figure. Even if he is caught, he won't be able to find out anything, so he might as well use him to convey wrong news. Golden Crocodile Douluo is now in a state of suspended animation. In fact, if he wants to be more realistic, Tianlin can really kill him and then use the Holy Spirit Orb to resurrect him. But Golden Crocodile Douluo is not Zhu King. His strength is too strong, too high. To resurrect him, the price Tianlin must pay will not be small. After finally getting rid of the drag of ultimate attributes, Tianlin didn't have the time to practice again. Boss, I have stopped the old man's bleeding as you ordered before. Duran, who had been guarding here, said, well, leave it to me next. Tianlin nodded, walked up to Jin Crocodile, and put his hand on his heart. A burst of electrical stimulation revived his heart that had stopped beating. With Golden Crocodile Douluo's physique, he actually suffered only superficial injuries and woke up immediately. He didn't show any surprise, but asked calmly, I'm not dead, boy, how did you do it? I'm pretty sure that my state just now was really the same as if I was dead, and even my soul was gone because of I don't know why, but I was almost swallowed up. But at the last moment, I was pulled back from the Hellgate, as expected of the second worshipper of Wuhan Palace. His attitude was so indifferent, even after walking between life and death. Senior, this is called the calamity of immortality. Tianlin pointed at the wound of the Golden Crocodile and said, it is a meridian in the human heart. The person who is stabbed will look exactly like he is really dead for a period of time, including the soul. It will be completely silent. No matter how strong the master is, he will no longer be able to sense a trace of your vitality. But in fact, as long as the bleeding is stopped in time, there will be no life-threatening danger. As for your soul just being swallowed, it was not my doing, but someone took advantage of it. What methods were used on you while you were dead? Fortunately, you are extremely strong, so you can survive until now. In the world of fairy swords, even a master of the level of the moon worshipping cult master can deceive this immortal catastrophe. It is just a jade crown, a dimensionality reduction blow. Jin Crocodile nodded. Well, then, kid, give me all the clues you have. I will investigate the matter of the 4-winged fallen angel in secret. It just so happens that the great enshrinement is in the open, and I'm in the dark, so we can cooperate inside and outside. Tianlin was stunned for a moment. Senior, I didn't say a word. Do you know what I'm going to do? Nonsense. Before I fell into suspended animation, I was sealed, and my body and soul power could not be used. I can keep my hearing well. I heard the conversation between you and the Great Worshipper clearly. When I heard you ask the Great Worshipper for an angel, when I got the soul bone, I knew you didn't want to let me go at all. There must be some conspiracy, and you happened to mention something about fallen angels. I guess it must be related to this matter. Jin Crocodile said angrily, now that you killed me first and then saved me, I completely figured it out. You asked me to fake my death and investigate this matter secretly. After all, the enemy is hiding, and we are hiding. This is too unfavorable, so we need someone who is strong enough and can be trusted to hide in the dark. Looking at the entire Wuhan Palace, there will never be any collusion with those bullshit fallen angels. Except for the Great Worshipper and Zuir, it is me. After all, I'm Wuhan Palace's like Chen's into Qibao Glazed sect. Senior, have you buried any secrets around me? Tianlin exclaimed. Golden Crocodile Douluo looked like a fool. You can guess what kind of secret is needed for this. By the way, speaking of this, there should be other people in the square just now who are the secret of that unknown force. If they were both from both of us, didn't you act like a lonely person? Tell me who it is. Forget it, you should just tell me directly who was the first guy who came to me when I faked my death. I'm sure that guy didn't run away. Besides, you should have some other clues. Otherwise, why would you go to such great lengths to let me find a needle in a haystack? Senior Golden Crocodile, you have made me feel very unfulfilled. I came up with this plan, but it took me several days to use my little brain. As a result, you exposed it all without me saying a word. Tianlin said helplessly. He didn't expect this old guy to be so scary, and he could guess his own thoughts. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298 Golden Crocodile's Promise. Senior Golden Crocodile. Actually, I don't have many clues in my hand. I only know that some time ago, there was an extremely huge massacre on the edge of the continent. According to what my grandpa Bones said, the aura remaining there is the same as that. The auras of the four-winged fallen angels are very similar, so please go to these places to investigate. Tianlin took out a map with several locations marked on it. Point after taking it and looking at it, Jin Crocodile said, "Okay, leave it to me, but boy, when you think about your plans in the future, remember to be more complete. I can see it, and so can the big offering. Others may also guess it. Ocean's plan is indeed very rough, but the prerequisite for discovery is that you are discovered before you die. I believe that with your strength and wisdom, this rough plan will not be an oversight. Let's go." Ning Fengzi walked over slowly with Gurong. "That's natural, but let me make it clear first, Ning Fengzi, I only temporarily agree to cooperate with you this time, because compared to you, the fallen angels are the mortal enemies of my enshrinement hall. Once these bastards are dealt with, Wuhan Hall and you, the accounts between the 7 treasures, Glazed sect must be settled in the end." After saying that, Golden Crocodile Douluo stood up and threw a token to Tianlin. "Boy, since you have chosen to let me go, just think that I owe you a favor. In the future, you can use this token to send people to the worship hall to find me. As long as you don't betray the spirit hall, I can agree to your request. Even if you want 100,000-year-old soul ring and soul bone, I will try my best to help you get it." "Good stuff. Thank you very much, Senior Golden Crocodile." Tianlin accepted the token unceremoniously. After all, it was a favor from a level 98 Super Douluo, so don't be ridiculous. "No need to thank me. I just want to pay off what I owe you, so that I can feel more at ease when I kill you later." Jin Crocodile looked at Tianlin with murderous intent in his eyes. He is not an arrogant person like Qibao, but he really wants to kill Tianlin. For any force, as long as a guy like Tianlin belongs to the other side, he is a huge threat. "If you make a move, I will kill you first." Chenzin stood in front of Tianlin. Now he is completely fearless of the Golden Crocodile. It is very easy to kill him alone. The gap between level 99 and level 98, it's not that big. Point looking at Chenzin, Golden Crocodile Douluo was a little worried. After all, even Douluo had just been defeated by him. The reason why Douluo agreed not to attack Qibao Glazed sect was precisely because he was afraid of Chenzin, just like back then. He was generally afraid of Tang Chen Point, although Chenzin's true combat power is still slightly inferior to that of the 3 peerless warriors due to the gap between soul rings and soul bones. His life burning technique is really terrifying. Once activated, the other 3 ultimate Douluo will probably no longer be able to fight. His opponent will die after he performs this move, but his enemy will also die. Point. Even if Ning Fengzi is around, only the enemy will die. The two of them have won a great save for the Qibao Glazed sect. Even Douluo has to be careful before becoming an enemy of the Qibao Glazed sect. Consider the gains and losses. Chen Zin, Jun Tianlin. Looking at these two people, Jin Crocodile thought with some sadness in his heart. After years of development, our Wuhan Palace has finally reached its peak in this generation. It is about to sweep the world and unify the continent, but the heavens have, and why should we let down this pair of masters and disciples? Not only are their abilities astonishing, but they have also obtained the qualifications for the divine examination. If they both become gods, where will our spirit hall go? It seems that I have to endure it for a while. In addition to investigating the matter of the fallen angels, I will try my best to help the young master become a god as soon as possible. Jin Crocodile believes that, as long as Rinxu Xianshanlin and Chenzin become gods in one step, the disadvantage can be restored. killing both of them before they succeeded. That's right, Senior Jin Crocodile. You just need to work hard to investigate the matter of the fallen angels and cultivate your young master. We will talk about the future things later. Ning Fengzi suddenly laughed and said, actually, as long as your Wuhan palace no longer has anything to do with me, if our sect is our enemy, we will not deal with you. After all, your soul hunting operation not only failed to capture our sect, but nearly 10,000 people died here. For our sect, no matter how great the revenge is, it has been avenged. What Cheyenne said in the square was just out of anger, so please senior, contain your murderous intent. Otherwise I'm afraid Uncle Jian won't be able to help but take action. Jin. Crocodile looked at Ning Fengzi in horror. Could this guy understand what he was thinking? He was very sure that he was just thinking in his head and never said it subconsciously. He was not. That stupid point. Then Ning Fengzi either has the ability to read minds, or he can read his thoughts by observing his expressions. This ability to observe words and emotions is so strong that it can be compared with Chen Xin's strength and Tianlin's talent. Directly proportional point. Just now, he was showing off his wisdom in front of Tianlin, but he didn't expect that within a few minutes, he would be shown off by Ning Fengzi. 3 monsters. Jin Crocodile murmured, and quickly left the Qibao Glazed sect. His strength was not as good as Chen Xin, his wisdom was not as good as Ning Fengzi's, and his talent was not as good as Tianlin. This was the first time that he felt so incompetent. He was afraid that, if he stayed any longer, he would have a heart attack caused by these guys with his strength. No one would be able to detect him. If he wanted to leave secretly. After Golden Crocodile Douluo left, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect became calm for the time being, but a lot of big things happened in the Xiandao Palace. After examination by the doctor and Tang San, it turned out that Emperor Zuai was not sick, but was poisoned by a strange poison. Tang San found some clues. This kind of poison was very special and required not only drug treatment, but also a highly skilled poison soul master. After using the poison to poison method to dissolve the poison in Emperor Zuyu's body, Tang San could be considered half a poison soul master, but with his current Soul King level skill it was simply not enough. In desperation, they had no choice but to send someone to the 7 Treasure Glazed sect. Ask Qibao to go and help. For this, Ning Fengzi agreed without hesitation. Qibao owed the Xiandao Empire a favor back then, and now he just needs to pay it back. However, Zubeng announced at this time that the person who poisoned was the Prince Zuking. The real Zuking had been murdered a long time ago. Not only Emperor Zuyi, but the 2 previous princes were also murdered by him. Prince Zhu Crossing also came forward to testify. For a time, countless nobles responded. They had been unhappy with Zuking for a long time. Since he came to power, they could not even take back a beautiful woman from a commoner family when they saw her on the street, unless she volunteered to be a concubine. In the past, there is no need to be so humble. Commoner beauties, just look at them, rob them, play with them, and throw them away, all in one process anyway. This is what Prince Zubeng usually does, and such an emperor is in line with their wishes at this time. Zuking suddenly disappeared, giving them an excuse to say that he was afraid of crime and absconded. Zubeng was the only remaining son of the emperor, so he was justified in taking the position. The people in the world who least want to see this happen are all the people in the world. How kind is His Royal Highness the Crown Prince? He treats the people well, restrains the nobles, and is kind to others. Under his governance, the Xiandao Empire has clear politics, maintains relations with the major kingdoms externally, and cultivates military and political affairs internally. People's livelihood. The Xiandao Empire's national power is growing day by day, and this little angel can be said to play the word enemies clearly, but this also proves that her ideals are firm and have not wavered because of her stance. Even as the hostile Xiandao Empire, she was doing her best. The people did not believe that Zuking was a villain. They believed that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince must have been murdered during a party dispute. They hoped that the court would investigate the matter thoroughly and give him justice. Unfortunately, in this fantasy world, where power is respected, all people asking for orders is of no use at all. The status of a soul master is much higher than that of the common people in a village. As long as people from the privileged class choose to support Zubeng, their voices will only be heard by the upper class. In this way, Zubeng finally realized his wish and became the leader of the Xiandao Empire, and Tang San also benefited a lot from it. He and Zubeng now are just like Tianlin and Zuking back then. The difference is that, since His Majesty the Emperor has not yet awakened, Zubeng has not yet officially ascended to the position of Crown Prince. Chapter 299 Ning Feng's Secret Technique. Awakening on a snowy night. In Xiandao City, at the invitation of the Xiandao Empire, Ning Fengzi took Du Gubo and Gurong to the Xiandao Palace to treat Emperor Zui. In the past, when Ning Fengzi arrived, he would definitely receive enthusiastic support from all the officials, but today, they were all very cold. If the three of them were not all extremely powerful people at the title Douluo level, they would have been ridiculed. The reason why Qibao Glazed sect is not favored by Xiandao Cheotang is because of the identities of Ning Fengzi and Tianlin. One of them is Zuking's teacher and the other is Zuking's brother. Many people suspect that Qibao is there any collusion between Liuli sect and Wuhan Palace. However, due to the fact that the Wuhan Palace showed no mercy to the Qibao Glazed sect during the soul hunting operation, and the Qibao Glazed sect killed many title Douluo from the Wuhan Palace, they could only suppress them without any evidence. Suspicion in my heart. However, it is simply impossible for Ning Fengzi to obtain the same status as before. For an empire, the most serious crimes are regicide, rebellion, and seizing the throne. If Zuking violates this taboo, then those who had a better relationship with him in the past will deserve to die. Noticing the hostile looks around him, Ning Fengzi turned a blind eye and walked straight to Emperor Zuyi's palace, where Zubeng had already been waiting. Sect. Master Ning, I have been waiting for a long time. Please treat my father as soon as possible. Looking at the world, I'm afraid that only poisoned Douluo man can cure my father's poison. Zubeng looked very anxious, but Ning Feng's I could tell that he was not panicked at all. He is now the only prince of the Xiandao Empire. It won't be a big problem if Zuyi dies. He can directly succeed to the throne as emperor, but externally, he has to pretend to be anxious on the surface. After all, he has to show his filial piety. Your Highness, please rest assured, I will try my best. Du Gubo promised. Everyone walked to Emperor Zui's bedside, and Du Gubo checked him. It turned out to be an extremely rare poison. But after receiving the Yuheng Bei Kyojing sent by Tianlin, Du Gubo's poison skills have already made great progress, and he can completely remove Emperor Zuyi's poison without spending any cost. However, thinking of Ning Feng's instructions, he said, Your Highness, what your majesty has been infected with is a terrifying chronic poison. It has been at least 3 years, and the poison has penetrated deep into the bone marrow. I can only cure 70% of his poison. Whether he can wake up depends on His Majesty's luck. What? Even I can only cure 70% of the poison? The damn Wuhan Palace actually gave my father such a poison. Zubeng punched the wall angrily. With 2 yellow, 2 purple and 1 black 5 on his body, he couldn't help but release every soul ring. Seeing this, many ministers sighed inwardly at his filial piety. Your Highness, I have a way to ensure that your majesty will wake up. Ning Fengzi said, there is a secret method in our Qibao Glazed sect that can stimulate people's life potential, but the cost is lifespan. If you use this method, even if His Majesty can wake up, he can only live for another 5 to 7 years at most. No, His Majesty is blessed. How can you use such means? Ning Fengzi, do you want to kill His Majesty? What are your intentions? Zhelong was angry. He made the special trip after hearing about the Xiandao Palace. Coming from the border, he was already a little dissatisfied with the Qibao Glazed sect because of Zuking's incident, and he immediately started questioning him. With him as the leader of the military generals taking the lead, many ministers criticized Ning Fengzi and did not agree with his idea. In the end, Zubeng defied all opinions and chose to support Ning Fengzi. Of course, this was not out of filial piety, but because the Xiandao Empire could not be in chaos now. Otherwise the ambitious crossing Luo and Wuhan Palace would definitely take advantage of it. Although Zubeng has a lot of support from the nobles, his image of a playboy is too deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. He just needs a period of time to change this image. 3 to 5 years is just right, or it is just what he wants. and as long as there is Zhu Yi in the court, by taking charge of the overall situation, he can have more time to gather other forces. Take the Haitian sect for example. Back then, the Haitian sect was more biased towards crossing Luo, but after so many years of seclusion, their relationship with crossing Luo had long been severed. Now that they are reborn, they must find a force to cooperate with, otherwise they would just rely on them. How to become an enemy of Wuhan Palace Point. Although the Haitian sect and the Xiandao Empire are now at odds with each other, he is confident that, if he reaches them through Tang Hao and Tang San, as long as he explains clearly to them the pros and cons, he will definitely be able to win the favor of the #1 sect in the world support point. As for the 7 treasures glazed sect, Zhu Beng hates it very much. All his more than 10,000 troops died in their hands. Zhang Tianlin has offended him more than once. After finishing the Wuhan Palace, the 7 treasures glazed sect will also be to him. It's worthless, and he won't let it go. When the time comes, it just so happened that Emperor Zuai's incident was just an excuse. Of course, Ning Fengzi had to bear such a huge responsibility for reducing the emperor's lifespan point at this time. Ning Fengzi seemed to have no idea about Zhu Beng's thoughts, and was just focusing on using secret methods to treat Emperor Zhu Yi. The secret method that sacrifices lifespan is indeed extraordinary. After Du Gubo eliminated Emperor Zhu Yi's poison, it only took Ning Fengzi half a day to revive Emperor Zhu Yi. Moreover, he was not in a weak state. Zhu Yi woke up. As soon as he woke up, he looked very energetic. In fact, Ning Fengzi's secret method is to extend the time of returning to the light through lifespan. For example, Emperor Zhu Yi could originally live for 50 years, but now he can only live for 5 years. The advantage is that within these 5 years, his body will be healed. There won't be any problems. Emperor Zhu Yi, who had just woken up, learned about recent events from Zhelong and Zuxing. Unexpectedly, the son he had high hopes for turned out to be a spy of Wuhan Palace, and his real eldest son had died long ago. Thanks to Zhu Beng, the 4th son he had never paid attention to, who turned the tide. Zhu Yi suddenly felt sorry for him. He had been pretending to be a playboy for so many years, but he could only tolerate it despite his great ambitions. He could only survive by drinking, gambling, bullying others and robbing women. It was really hard. Got him. Father, Zhu Beng is not bitter. For the sake of our Xiandao Empire, I'm willing to accept, no matter how great the grievance is. Zhu Beng knelt on the ground, crying with tears in his eyes. Otherwise, it turns out that Zhu Yi and Zhu Beng are the biological father and son. Ning Fengzi and others really couldn't figure out how hard it was to live like drinking, gambling, and playing with women every day. The real sufferers are probably the people Zhu Beng harmed, just to pretend to be a dandy. Zhu Yi got out of bed and expressed his gratitude to Ning Fengzi. However, his gratitude contained a hint of dissatisfaction. After all, it was all because of Ning Fengzi. At this time, he only had 5 years left to live. If it weren't for the fact that the Qibao glazed sect was too powerful, strong, now the empire cannot do without the Qibao glazed sect, otherwise he would have to be sentenced for regicide today. Chapter 300 Zhu Beng's provocation and strategy to win over the Haitian sect. After Emperor Zhu Yi regained consciousness, he was finally able to handle government affairs normally. When he heard about the soul hunting plan, snapped Emperor Zhu Yi angrily slapped the right handle of his chair off. It's too blatant. He first harmed our Xiandao Empire, and then tried to destroy the 3 sects. What on earth is the spirit hall trying to do? Doesn't it want to rule the entire continent? Really? My millions of troops dare not declare war with them. Father, don't be angry. Although Wuhan Palace has done many evil things, they paid a heavy price this time. Qiandao's infiltration plan was discovered by me, and the soul hunting operation failed. The Qibao glazed sect made Wuhan Palace. The army of 10,000 soul masters has never come back. Zhu Beng suddenly complimented the Qibao glazed sect inexplicably. Emperor Zhu Yi was overjoyed after hearing this. Oh, I didn't expect that your sect's strength has reached such a level. Sect mastering is indeed very human. Not only that, the emperor was also manipulated by people from the Wuhan Palace to lead an army to encircle and suppress the Qibao glazed sect. The 10,000 strong army also left no one behind. He has always held a grudge against him. HMPH, that's because you are incompetent, and yet you are still being manipulated by others. Can you blame sect masterning for what happened to the 10,000 strong army? Emperor Zuyi said angrily. Fortunately, the Qibao glazed sect is strong. Otherwise, if sect masterning was involved, what happened? The country has lost a pillar. I must teach you a lesson. Yes, the emperor realizes his mistake, and now he apologizes to sect masterning. Zhu Beng walked up to Ning Fengzi, bowed and said, "Sect masterning, my highness has offended many times before. Please forgive me, your highness." Zhu Beng, "You're welcome." Ning Fengzi said with a smile. "However, the strength of Gizem is really astonishing. My highness heard that during the annihilation operation, Gizem was not only undefeated, but also captured two extremely high-ranking ministers of Wuhan Palace alive, and finally led the great minister of Wuhan Palace to come out. Since Gizem is still safe and sound, presumably those three people have been successfully eliminated by Gizem, right?" Zhu Beng asked. "It goes without saying that these three people will have no way to survive. Is my guess correct? Sect masterning has done a great job in eliminating powerful enemies for the empire. Zhu Yi, as the emperor, still knows some things about Qibao Liu. If he really died, and Zhu Yi could wake up from his dreams with a smile, then Ning Feng's sin of shortening his lifespan could also be written off. Zhu Yi and Zhu Beng, who were singing along, turned out to be waiting for them here. The battle a few days ago was so loud that it was heard as far away as Xiandao City. It was impossible to hide it from anyone, and that day, except Wuhan Palace and Qibao Liu Lizong and the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family are also here. As long as you want to know the situation, you can always find out. There is even the betrayer Luo Man. Even if no one investigates, he will take the initiative to spread the news, to drive a wedge between the Xiandao Empire and the Qibao Glazed sect. No, our sect only killed the second golden crocodile Douluo. Although Qibao Liu was defeated by Uncle Jian, he is still very strong. If we fight to the death, maybe we can keep him, but our sect will also suffer casualties. It was so tragic that in the end, I had no choice but to give in to the pressure and return the demon-conquering Douluo to him on the promise that he would never attack our sect again. Ning Fengzi told the truth directly. There is no problem in saying so. The Qibao Glazed sect is only cooperating with the empire and is not your subordinate. There is no need to sacrifice a large number of disciples to fight for you. Moreover, a second sacrifice has been solved. Isn't this enough? Haha, I understand. Although Emperor Zhu Yi was dissatisfied, he was still friendly on the surface. After all, the country now needs the 7 treasures glazed sect. Otherwise, what would he do to fight against the title Douluo of the Spirit Hall? Your Majesty, since you have recovered, we will say goodbye now. Our sect is being rebuilt, and there are still many important things to deal with. Ning Fengzi stood up, said goodbye to Emperor Zhu Yi and left. Snapped. This time it was the left handle that broke. HMPH. The Qibao Glazed sect has become arrogant because of its excessive strength. If you don't want to have a fight with Wuhan Palace to the point of death, you really have the position of being a grassroots. Emperor Zhu Yi was very angry. In his opinion, Qibao Glazed sect only killed Golden Crocodile, but released Qibao Liu and Jiang Mo on the condition that they could not attack the sect again. This was a very double-dealing choice. It not only completely offended Wuhan Palace, but also set a trap for the empire. Zhang cast his name and killed the 2 worshippers of Wuhan Palace, so there must be no possibility of collusion. I think from now on, Wuhan Palace will not go to the Qibao Glazed sect for a long time. Firstly because of Qibao Liu's promise, and secondly because they suffered heavy losses this time, and don't have much power for the time being. In a fight with the Qibao Glazed sect, even if all the enshrinement halls come out, both sides will definitely suffer losses. Will the 2 empires not take them all at once? Therefore, what Wuhan Palace needs most now is to be patient and gradually regain its strength. But a skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Even though Wuhan Palace has suffered such a heavy loss, it is still the strongest in the mainland in terms of the power of soul masters. In order to resist them, the Xiandao Empire has to continue to rely on the power of the 7 treasures glazed sect, and then no matter how unhappy I am, I can only endure it. Father, it is not a good thing for the Qibao Glazed sect to dominate. I have a suggestion. How about we win over the Haotian sect? Daxai's dissatisfaction with Qibao gave him more resources to gain the support of Haoshan sect. Haoshan sect. Didn't you just say that the fake prince forged the imperial edict and used my military talisman to lead an army to attack the Haoshan sect? Now the relationship between the Haoshan sect and our country is also tense. Do you think it's better to win them over? What are the chances? Zhu Yi questioned. Father, you also said that this piece is made by fake Zhu King. In fact, our Xiandao Empire is also a victim. My close friend Tangsun is a disciple of the Haoshan sect, and he is the son of Haoshan Douluo. Although he and Haoshan Douluo his father is not recognized by the sect, but as long as he can show enough value, I think the Haoshan sect will be lenient, and the one who can help him show his value is our Heavendao Empire. My father is wise and wise. He must understand that to measure whether a person is worthy enough, we must look at his strength and power. In terms of strength, Haoshan Douluo looks at the whole world. There are few opponents in the mainland. Tangsun himself is also extremely talented. He has the appearance of a titled Douluo and has twin martial spirits. He is not inferior to Jun Tianlin. In terms of power, Tangsun has a weapon called a hidden weapon in his hand. As long as we equip our army, the combat effectiveness can be greatly improved. Based on this achievement, we can make Tangsun an imperial noble and gain some real power. With this kind of confidence, if the Haoshan sect wants to rise again quickly, they will have to recognize this disciple, even if they don't recognize it. At that time, we can use Tangsun's line to gradually ease the relationship with the Haoshan sect. I want to succeed. The rate will not be less than 70%. After all, we both have a common enemy, Wuhan Palace. Zhu Beng's words made Zhu Yi nod repeatedly. This plan is feasible. There are no eternal enemies in this world, only eternal interests. His last sentence hit the point. The biggest enemy of Haoshan sect is not the Xiandao Empire, but the Spirit Hall point. What's more important is that once he has the Haoshan sect, he doesn't need to care so much about Ningfengzi, and he can let the two largest sects in the world check each other. As an emperor, he naturally knows the importance of checks and balances. Zhu Yi looked at Zhu Beng with more and more admiration. He was indeed his son. The previous dandy was indeed an act. His talent was not inferior to that of fake Zhu King. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.